movement. After the bifurcation of Telangana also, several political parties kept doing certain kind of political activity within the campus. But the university administration say that almost a year back, the executive committee of the university, they passed a resolution denying any kind of political activity within the campus, and that was the reason which university administration is citing, rejecting the request of NSUI, the Student Union of Congress Party. NSUI had approached to the university administration seeking permission, asking them to permit Rahul Gandhi to interact with the university student within the campus. Rahul Gandhi is supposed to travel to Telangana. He'll address a mega public meeting in Warangal. On 7th of this month, he'll be here in Hyderabad, and that day, on 7th, it was proposed, it was decided that Rahul Gandhi will visit university. But now permission has been denied. A petition has been also moved in Hyderabad High Court, where the denial of permission is being raised, and the petition is made that university should allow a Congress MP to visit inside the campus. Congress party.
Tell me something. Who was the last political leader to visit the campus at Osmania University?
It was Tejasvi Surya Preeti. Tejasvi Surya was inside the campus during Greater Hyderabad Municipal Corporation polls in 2020, and later on he was booked by Hyderabad police.
All right. Ashish, stay with me. Let's quickly dip into the latest political reactions we are getting in on the story, and we are back with our reporter.
मैं ये पूछना चाह रहा हूँ, वो पाकिस्तान नहीं है या और कहीं चीन का बॉर्डर नहीं है और प्रोहिबिटेड एरिया भी नहीं है, जहाँ पर स्टूडेंट्स पढ़ते हैं, एक मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट को वहाँ पर जाकर वहाँ पर देखने के लिए अगर मना किए तो इसको कौन सी तरीका से देखना है? इसका मतलब स्टूडेंट से अगर कांग्रेस पार्टी के नेता अगर इंटरेक्ट हुए तो केसीआर के जितने भी गलत काम है और नोटिफिकेशंस भी नहीं दिया हुआ है, एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट्स भी पूरा खत्म कर चुका है, ये सब सारे चर्चा आएगा तब केसीआर को दिक्कत होगा। इसीलिए चीफ मिनिस्टर यूनिवर्सिटी वाइस चांसलर के ऊपर दबाव डाल के हमारा परमिशन को रिजेक्ट करवाया।
All right, viewers, let's go back and recap the latest news break that we're getting in. Rahul Gandhi was to be on a tour of Telangana. There he was to visit the Osmania University and interact with students there. Now what's happened is that he was denied permission. The students wing of the Congress, NSUI, and the women's wing of the Congress, students women wing of the Congress protested. Many NSUI students are hurt. Now the administration says that they do not allow political activity on campus. Having said that, my colleague Ashish, who's joining us, also corroborates that that is not quite the case, because as last 2020, it was Tejasvi Surya from the Bharatiya Janata Party who was at the Osmania campus, and he held a meeting too. So the NSUI is not now pushing forth with why is only Rahul Gandhi being denied permission. Ashish is back with us. Ashish, have you been able to speak to the Chancellor? Have you been able to speak to the administration?
Yes, I have spoken to the university administration, Preeti, and they clearly said that they had officially not denied any permission. So they say, quote, that they have not denied permission. When the delegation of Congress Party, the student wing of Congress Party, the delegation met to the university administration, they were informed about the executive council decision, which was made some year back. And according to that decision, no political activity is allowed within the campus. And that's what university administration say, that they have informed the student wing of Congress Party that there is no permission, there will be no permission for any kind of political activity. On the very other hand, NSUI activists and NSUI leadership, or including Congress leadership, they say that it is not a political meeting. Here, a Congress MP will visit university campus. The university is a very historic one. It being the epicenter of Telangana separate statehood movement. Several of the tall Congress leader, including former Prime Minister P.V. Narasimha Rao, S. Jaipal Reddy, and other senior Congress leaders who are no more. They studied in the campus. They participated in the separate statehood movement, and that's why Congress MP want to visit the university and interact with the students. and it is not a political meeting, or political meeting is organized, or the visit is not political in nature. That's the argument of Congress party. But at the very other hand, university administration believe that the entire proposal is political in nature, and they are citing executive committee decision which was taken a year back denying the permission of to the visit.
All right. Okay, let's just get one thing clear, Ashish. That means 2020 was the last political visit at the Osmania campus, and that was Tejasvi Surya. Since 2020, the decision of the administration was made that no political meeting would ever take place. This happened last year. So since then, has there been a political visit?
Of course, Preeti, we need to also keep this in mind that for 2 years, 2021 and 2022, university was almost shut because of the pandemic. There was no other kind of activity, including educational activity, was allowed within the campus. But yes, time and again we witnessed, we reported in fact that at several occasions, student union of the university tried holding certain kind of march and rallies. There been always a political activity. Those activities, however, been pushed and promoted by the campus student union, whether union affiliated to left parties, whether union affiliated to TRS, the ruling party, or union affiliated to BJP or Congress. There been political activities, continuous political activities within the campus. Usmania University is a very politically charged university campus, and there been political activity. But this particular incident definitely is going to trigger more political war of word between ruling TRS as well as Congress. Interestingly, BJP has also criticized Congress over this proposed visit of Rahul Gandhi. BJP has said that Congress is doing anarchic politics in Telangana.
All right, appreciate you joining us, Ashish. We're going to get back to you. Well, the Congress maintains that you allowed other political activity to take place. This is a politician who's coming into your campus, but the event is not political in nature. It's only going to blow up right now. 18 NSUI students have been arrested. Thank you, Ashish, for getting us the latest. We're going to keep a keen eye on all developments there.
जर हे 3 तारखेपर्यंत ऐकले नाही, 4 तारखेला हनुमान चालीसा प्रत्येक ठिकाणी मला ऐकू आलंच पाहिजे.
Maha-escalation and loudspeaker Rajniti. Thackeray versus Thackeray turns fever pitch. Mega Eid deadline to mute loudspeakers. Chalisa at double volume at Mosque Dare. Raj Thackre's Pawar allergic to Hindus jive. Sabse bada Hindu con face off. Loudspeaker dangle rages on. Our top focus on India today.
All right, the loudspeaker debate is only getting louder where Maharashtra is concerned. On Sunday, Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray launched a stinging attack on the Bharatiya Janata Party, claiming that the party duped his father Bala Sahib Thackeray because he was gullible. Thackeray went on to say that he has been behaving shrewdly with the BJP because it cannot ignore the games the party plays in the name of Hindutva, that the Bharatiya Janata Party uses Hindutva as a tool to exploit electoral emotion. Attacking the MNS chief, Uddhav Thackeray said that such players sometimes play the game of Marathi, sometimes Hindutva, sometimes whatever their political leaning at that time suggests. All of this after BJP's Devendra Fadnavis, the former CM of Maharashtra, on Sunday launched a scathing attack on the Maharashtra Chief Minister and Shiv Sena President Uddhav Thackeray, asserting that he was not a true adherent of Hindutva. Fadnavis accused Sena of skipping Babri demolition and now sitting in the lap of anti-Hindu forces.
माझ्यावर त्या आरोप केला की ती शिवसेना बाळासाहेबांची शिवसेना नाही. म्हटलं बरोबर आहे, बाळासाहेब भोळे होते आणि बाळासाहेबांना तुम्ही त्यावेळेला कसे वेळोवेळी फसवत गेला तुम्ही माझ्या डोळ्याने बघितले, म्हणून मी थोडासा नाही म्हटलं तरी धूर्तपणाने तुमच्याशी वागतोय. मी नाही भोळा. माझे वडील भोळे होते, ते हिंदुत्वासाठी, म्हणजे हिंदुत्व हे माझे रक्तात त्यांनीच भिनवलेले आहे. पण हिंदुत्वाच्या आडून तुम्ही जे तुमचे डाव सरत होता त्याच्याकडे ते कानाडोळा करत होते. मी नाही करणार.
तो ढाचा पाडण्याचं काम अभिमानानं सांगतो आम्ही केलं. अरे तुम्ही विचारता, माझा तुम्हाला सवाल आहे, तुम्ही सांगा तो ढाचा पडला त्यावेळी तुम्ही कुठे होतात? मी या ठिकाणी अभिमानानं सांगतो, होय मी तो ढाचा पाडण्याकरता त्याच ठिकाणी होतो.
Meanwhile, as Raj Thakrae's day after MNS Eid loudspeaker deadline comes closer, Shiv Sena has hinted at a possible blink in the loudspeaker pressure, dangal if one might call it. Mumbai Mayor Kishori Pednekar has said no one, including Muslims, opposed Hanuman Chalisa and loudspeakers will be removed from temples and mosques. Sena has also appealed all to maintain peace in Maharashtra, saying that if Raj Thakre has said anything objectionable in his speech, then action will be taken against him. Raj Thakre launched a scathing attack on the Mahavikas Aghadi government on Sunday. He reiterated his earlier political ultimatum to the Thakre government to remove loudspeakers from mosques by the 4th of May.
सर्व देशवासियांना, माझी सर्व हिंदू बांधवांना, भगिनींना माझी विनंती आहे, जर हे 3 तारखेपर्यंत ऐकले नाही, 4 तारखेला हनुमान चालीसा प्रत्येक ठिकाणी मला ऐकू आलंच पाहिजे. पोलिसांकडनं वाटल्यास रीतसर परवानगी घ्या, लाऊडस्पीकरची परवानगी घ्या, त्यांना द्यावीच लागते.
ढोंगे डबल टेबल लावा, कायदा आहे, पोलीस आहे, साऊंड सिस्टमचा एक रेकॉर्ड आहे, त्याच्या बाहेर गेले, लावणारे जातील, बघतील. त्यामुळे लावणाऱ्यांनी पण विचार करा, आपली उभी जिंदगी आपण कोर्टाच्या खेटा घालवण्यामध्ये घालवणार आहात का?
The high decibel Azan versus Hanuman Chalisa on the loudspeaker debate is blaring out loud. On Sunday, Aurangabad's Marathwada Sanskritik Maidan turned saffron to hold the Maharashtra Navanirman Sena Chief Raj Thakre's mega public rally. Speaking to a packed venue, MNS Chief served this ultimatum to Uddhav Thakre government.
सर्व देशवासियांना, माझी सर्व हिंदू बांधवांना, भगिनींना माझी विनंती आहे, जर हे 3 तारखेपर्यंत ऐकले नाही, 4 तारखेला हनुमान चालीसा प्रत्येक ठिकाणी मला ऐकू आलंच पाहिजे.
Thakre also did not spare the NCP chief Sharad Pawar, accusing him of dividing Hindus through casteism.
हे जातीपातीच्या विषापासून तुम्ही सगळ्यांनी दूर राहणं गरजेचं आहे. या पवार साहेबांना हिंदू या शब्दाचीच मुळात ॲलर्जी आहे. हे जे विष या माणसाने जे कालवलं ना, मी जे सतत सांगतोय की राष्ट्रवादीचा जन्म झाल्यानंतर महाराष्ट्रामध्ये जातीपातीचं राजकारण मोठ्या प्रमाणावरती सुरू झालं. जात प्रत्येक जण मानत होता, जात प्रत्येकाला प्रिय होती, पण दुसऱ्या जातीबद्दलचा द्वेष हा राष्ट्रवादी काँग्रेसच्या जन्मानंतर सुरू झाला.
The rally comes in the backdrop of the ultimatum given by Raj Thakre to Uddhav Sarkar.
तुम्हाला जो काही नमाज पडायचा आहे, तुम्हाला जी काय अजान द्यायची आहे, घरामध्ये द्या. आणि जर सांगून जर समजा तुम्हाला समजत नसेल की हे भोंगे खाली उतरवा, तुम्ही आम्हाला विनाकारण त्रास देऊ नका, हे जर नीट सांगून समजत नसेल तर तुमच्या मशिदीच्या बाहेर आम्ही हनुमान चालीसा लावणार म्हणजे लावणार.
MNS chief, who had praised the Yogi model of muting the loudspeakers in Uttar Pradesh, had taken a bhogi jibe at his cousin brother Uddhav Thakre and met BJP leader and former Jammu and Kashmir Deputy Chief Minister Kavinder Gupta, only to praise Modi government's tough anti-terror fight.
जहां तक मेरा विचार है कि राष्ट्र विरोधी ताकतों को खत्म करने के लिए राष्ट्रभक्त लोगों को इकट्ठा होना पड़ेगा. देखिए, सरकार जिस प्रकार से चल रही है महाराष्ट्र में, जिस प्रकार से गुंडाराज, जिस प्रकार से अपनी विचारधारा बदल करके ये सरकार चला रहे हैं और मजबूरी की सरकार चला रहे हैं, उस सभी में लोगों ने जिस प्रकार से सहा है सरकार को, चेंज होना स्वाभाविक बात है.
The BJP also kept the heat on Uddhav government.
आम्ही हनुमान चालीसा म्हटल्यानंतर त्यांच्यावर राजद्रोहाचा गुन्हा लागला. आणि मजेची गोष्ट बघा, काल परवा आरोपपत्र दाखल केलं. त्या आरोपपत्रात काय लिहिलंय तर यांनी मुख्यमंत्र्यांच्या घरासमोर हनुमान चालीसा म्हणण्याची घोषणा केल्यामुळे ते राज्य उलथवून टाकत होते, म्हणून आम्ही त्यांना जेलमध्ये टाकलं.
The Shiv Sena, however, mocked Raj Thakre, repeating charges of his BJP links.
MNS a party which is already on saline, now it is getting booster doses from the BJP. Now the crowds are easily being purchased. People are being brought. I heard that BJP has given him 10 crores for just collecting people.
It has been an all-out war to prove who is the real Hindu Hriday Samrat in Maharashtra.
शिवसेना प्रमुखांचं हिंदुत्व हेच आहे. त्यांनी सांगितलं होतं की मला देवळात घंटा बडवणारा हिंदू नको आहे, मला अतिरेक्यांना बडवणारा हिंदू पाहिजे. हे कुठले आले घंटाधारी हिंदुत्ववादी? घंटाधारी हिंदुत्ववाद्यांनी आम्हाला गदाधारी हिंदुत्ववाद्याने हिंदुत्व शिकण्याच्या भानगडीत पडू नये. आमचं हिंदुत्व हे गदाधारी हिंदुत्व आहे.
की काही लोकांना हिंदू असण्याची लाज वाटते आणि आता तर नवीन हिंदुत्व आलंय, घंटाधारी आणि गदाधारी. घंटाधारी आणि गदाधारी. मी असं म्हटलं की घंटाधारी गदाधारी, ते म्हणाले आम्ही गदाधारी आहोत. मी त्यांना म्हटलं तुम्ही गदाधारी आहात की नाही माहित नाही, पण रोज सकाळी टीव्ही पाहिल्यावर तुम्ही गदाधारी नक्कीच आहात हे आमच्या लक्षात येतं.
As the loudspeaker debate continues, the question remains, is Raj Thackeray eyeing Shiv Sena's strident Hindutva space? With Pankaj Upadhyay and Pankaj Kelkar in Aurangabad, Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, I want to cut across to my colleague Paras Dama from Mumbai, who's getting us the very latest on this development, which is now peaking. Paras, what is the latest? Is the Shiv Sena now blinking, or it's going to keep up on the offensive that it had earlier?
It has all started 10-15 days back when this all the big controversy started, and it is not allowing to stop anyone right now. We can see as yesterday Raj Thackeray has taken a big rally, Sambodhan, where he said he has given an ultimatum to Uddhav Sarkar that till 4th, if all the loudspeaker will be not removed from the mosque, he will reply in his own way. Right now, before some time, the mayor, ex-mayor of Mumbai, Kishori Pednekar, also reacted on that, and she indirectly said that some people are trying to just make things difficult for Mumbai and Maharashtra. Also, she has targeted Devendra Fadnavis on some of the statement made by Devendra Fadnavis yesterday. But for now, the ultimatum has been launched by Raj Thackeray as on 4th. If loudspeaker will be not removed from the mosque, he will take particular action in his way as he has done before.
All right, appreciate you joining us, Paras. We're going to come back right to you, but new developments taking place. Let's dip into the latest news break. All right, it's a story of claims and counterclaims. MP Navneet Rana's latest claim and allegation is that she's not being given proper medical treatment in jail. MP Navneet Rana's lawyer, Rizwan Merchant, has written to the Baikala jail superintendent lawyer saying Navneet Rana has spondylitis and she has not been provided with the facility of a CAT scan. The pain due to spondylitis has aggravated as she was made to sit and sleep for long hours on the floor. Without a CT scan, further treatment cannot be carried out. The letter is also marked to the ADG Maharashtra prison and the Lok Sabha speaker. I want to give our viewers a little bit of a background on what's gone down. Ever since Navneet Rana was taken in, she and her husband both, in fact, had made allegations that they were being badly treated. She had said that she was denied even food and water because she belonged to a particular socially lower, assumed to be lower caste, or the SC/ST caste. This time again, she's come back and she said that she's not been given proper medical treatment. Meanwhile, the Rana couple likely to be out today at 2:45. The police have booked Navneet and her husband Ravi Rana for sedition and promoting enmity between different groups. While Navneet is lodged at the Baikala prison, Ravi Rana is at the Taloja jail. On Saturday, Rana's lawyers argued for bail, claiming there was no offence or sedition. Appearing for Rana's advocate Abad Ponda said that only having an intent to commit a crime can't be punished. Executing some intent and actually committing an offence can be. Meanwhile, the public prosecutor has argued that the comments made by the Ranas threaten law and order situation in the state. Meanwhile, the highly controversial seer who's gone ahead and made extremely provocative speeches, Yati Narsinghanand has once again stoked fresh controversy. Speaking at a Sanatan Sant Sabha in Uttar Pradesh's Aligarh, the seer Yati Narsinghanand urged Hindus to produce more children to prevent the country from becoming Hinduless in the coming decades. He went on to say that the Hindu population in the country is decreasing and many are trying to destroy Sanatan Dharma by opposing it. He also urged Hindus as well as the future generations to safeguard their religion. This is not the first time Yati Narsinghanand is making headlines. He was arrested earlier and released later on bail after he allegedly organized a Dharam Sansad in Haridwar last year, where he made highly provocative and bigoted speeches.
हमारी चिंता है हिंदुओं की घटती हुई जनसंख्या का अनुपात। अगर इसी तरह से हिंदुओं की जनसंख्या का अनुपात घटता रहा तो आपको यहाँ कोई हिंदू का मंदिर मिलेगा ही नहीं। हमने अपने लोगों से कहा है कि वो ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा बच्चे पैदा करें और अपने बच्चों को अपने परिवार की अपनी रक्षा करने में सक्षम बनाएं। सनातन धर्म धरती से कभी भी खत्म ना हो और जो सनातन धर्म को समाप्त करना चाहते हैं उनके बारे में हमारे लोग समझे बातों को और अपने आप को बचाएं, अपने अस्तित्व को बचाएं।
Well, this is not really the first time that Yati Narsinghanand has been caught making intemperate remarks, while this is to be considered way milder than what he has said before, which was downright toxic listening.
लड़ाई में जीतता वो है जिसके हथियार शत्रु से ज्यादा ताकतवर होते हैं। झूठी बातों में बच्चों फंस मत जाना। ज्यादा से ज्यादा बच्चे और अच्छे से अच्छे हथियार यही तुम्हें बचाने वाले हैं।
मेरा हिंदुओं के लिए केवल इतना संदेश है कि हिंदू अपने परिवारों को मजबूत करें और परिवार जो है पैसों से मजबूत नहीं होते। परिवार मजबूत होते हैं जब उसमें बच्चे होते हैं, जब रिश्ते होते हैं, रिश्तों में प्यार होता है और साथ ही साथ बच्चे ज्यादा पैदा करें। हिंदू बच्चे पैदा करके अपने बच्चों को इस लायक बनाए कि हिंदुओं के बच्चे अपने घर की रक्षा करें, अपने परिवार की रक्षा करें, अपनी बहन बेटियों की रक्षा करें। हमारी चिंता है हिंदुओं की घटती हुई जनसंख्या का अनुपात। अगर इसी तरह से हिंदुओं की जनसंख्या का अनुपात घटता रहा तो आपको यहाँ कोई हिंदू का मंदिर मिलेगा ही नहीं। हमने अपने लोगों से कहा है कि वो ज्यादा से ज्यादा बच्चे पैदा करें और अपने बच्चों को अपने परिवार की अपनी रक्षा करने में सक्षम बनाएं। सनातन धर्म धरती से कभी भी खत्म ना हो और जो सनातन धर्म को समाप्त करना चाहते हैं उनके बारे में हमारे लोग समझे बातों को और अपने आप को बचाएं, अपने अस्तित्व को बचाएं।
I'm going to go into a quick break. Up next, the centre slams the Delhi government for spreading panic over power crisis. We're going to get you more. Stay with us.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com or call 9999892171.
When it's the world's biggest news story, there's only one gold standard of journalism.
Rahul Kanwal, 23 years of experience, 5 conflicts covered, unmatched time in war zone.
The first embedded operation in the history of Indian television journalism.
Gaurav Sawant, 28 years of reporting, 8 conflicts covered, unmatched hours in conflict areas.
Actual firing is taking place, the grads are firing.
Shivarur, 19 years of reporting, 5 conflicts covered, unmatched view of international crossfires.
And the attack guns are firing away.
Geeta Mohan, 18 years of reporting, 3 conflicts covered. When the world is at war, there is no compromise on India Today.
You.
Meanwhile, in the midst of rising power crisis in the country, the Home Minister Amit Shah has called a crucial meeting at his residence. Power Minister R.K. Singh, Coal Minister Prahlad Joshi are going to attend the meeting. The power cut tussle between the centre and the state continues to grow, especially the state of Delhi. In a reply to Delhi Power Minister's letter expressing concern about the current coal stock position, Union Power Minister R.K. Singh refuted Delhi's claims, saying that the figure in Delhi Minister's letter was incorrect. Singh said the power situation was sufficient with coal reserve stock for 5 to 8 days. Union Minister accused the Delhi government of creating panic. Citing an example of October 2021, Singh said that Delhi government has earlier as well tried to create a panic amongst people over disruption of power, claiming that gas supply to gas plants was being disrupted, which was baseless. Singh stressed that advanced gas supply arrangements had not been made by Delhi government and that Delhi government power department is expected to monitor that contract tied up in time. Meanwhile, viewers, in a heat wave that is considered the worst ever being faced by north of India, the centre has written to the states over rising temperatures. Union Health Secretary Rajesh Bhushan, in his letter to states, requested them to disseminate the guidelines document National Action Plan on heat-related illnesses to all districts for effective management. The centre has asked states to escalate heat resilience measures in health facilities and share integrated disease surveillance program reports. State governments are also asked to review health facilities preparedness and ensure sufficient drinking water at all health facilities. All right, with that, I'm going to go into a quick break. Stay with me. Updates on the other side.
NFT is an acronym that stands for non-fungible token, which means guaranteed to be unique. The NFT is a digital certificate of authenticity associated with an object, which can be a digital file such as an image, a video, it could be an animation, photo, sound or text. It proves that its owner is the sole legitimate holder. This certificate is theoretically tamper-proof and cannot be duplicated. It is designed using blockchain technology, which is a decentralized and secure network for storing and transmitting information that keeps track of transactions and has enabled the rise of cryptocurrencies. An NFT owner has a digital wallet in which they store the digital certificates they have purchased. NFTs introduce the notion of scarcity into sectors as diverse as art, music, design, video games, or even fashion. The system allows creators to earn income from their work when the NFT is resold. NFTs arrived to the general public in 2017 with the platform CryptoKitties, a game in which players can buy and breed digital kittens whose value has skyrocketed.
All right, the Ukraine drone bombs Russian Navy boats. Dramatic images of explosion from the Black Sea. The Ukraine drone has destroyed Russia's armored boats. Big Ukraine hit after Moscow sinking. That's the latest. It's big news coming in on the 68th day of Russian invasion of Ukraine. Dramatic images of explosion coming in from the Black Sea. It seems Ukraine dealing a heavy hand where Russia is concerned. The Ukraine drones have bombed the Russian naval boats. How many of them? It seems to be right now one. These dramatic images of explosion from the Black Sea have emerged. The Ukraine drone destroyed Russia's armored boats. Big hit, especially after Moscow's sinking. What would be the retaliation to it? We're going to cut across to my colleague Rajesh Pawar, who's joining us for more. Rajesh, what more can you add to this news break?
See, the drones which have been supplied to Ukraine, they are very effective. They're state-of-art, latest technology which has been given to Ukraine, the Switchblades and other drones, and they have also been given a lot of anti-ship missiles. So probably it was one of these latest weapons which have been supplied by America or from the NATO countries which have been used here. Over to you.
How much significant is it, Rajesh Pawar, when you look at it, with what had gone down just about a month ago with the sinking of the Moskva?
This is certainly a very big development, that Ukrainian Navy, which was almost decimated in the first week of war itself, and there was a naval blockade all around the coast of Ukraine in the first week itself, which has been very effective. And after the sinking of Moskva, this is a really, really big development in this war, and this signifies that this signals that probably this war is going to escalate on all fronts, in air, in the sea, and on the land.
All right, so this war will escalate in terms of we did see what the reactions were after the sinking of the Moskva, which was not just a physical blow in terms of boots on ground, but also a huge blow where perception of Russia was concerned.
Very true. This Moskva ship was the flagship of Russian Navy in the Black Sea, and it has 3 layers of air defense. And if those 3 levels of air defense were penetrated and this ship was sunk, it was a huge blow to the military reputation of Russia. And now this attack coming up also is very, very significant, because this shows that Russian Navy, which was at ease in Black Sea, thinking that there is no Ukrainian response in the sea, will now be on the alert, and they'll be expecting more attacks from the Ukrainian forces in the coming days. Over to you.
What are we picking up, Rajesh? Is it just one particular vessel, or there are more?
See, right now, I don't have any definite information on this, but I believe a lot of anti-ship missiles have been provided to Ukraine in last 2 to 3 weeks. And probably one of these missiles, which was supplied by Britain specifically, have been used in this attack. And it's difficult to say right now. I have no information on this as such right now, how many vessels have been destroyed.
All right, we're going to wait for that information to filter in. But Rajesh, to look at it at a very subjective level, it does seem that, Ukraine, especially with the kind of weaponry and its arsenal in terms of American weaponry, European arsenal, is actually weighing down quite heavy where Russia is concerned.
Very true. See, the course of war has changed in last 1 month. Ever since America and some of the NATO countries decided to give the latest military equipment to Ukraine, state-of-art equipment and heavy equipment to Ukraine, the course of war has changed. And probably it was one of the reasons why Russians, after staying on the outskirts of Kyiv for almost 3 weeks, were forced to leave the Kyiv as well as all of North Ukraine. And that was a big change in the course of this war. And as the days come, we will see the things will change further, because more equipment is arriving every day in Ukraine now.
How do you see, this course go from here on? Because yes, you said it's been a month that possibly the fulcrum has shifted with the latest weaponry and arsenal being given by America and NATO forces. So how do you see things going on? Is this going to be a long stranded war between the two countries? Or do you see Russia maybe for now receding and then coming back stronger in days to come?
See, as far as Russia receding is not likely, because the areas which are under Russian control right now, what appears that they are planning to do some kind of referendum in Kherson, and all internet services in that city has been cut off for last 48 hours now. So it is, and they are forced to use now ruble instead of Ukrainian hryvnia as the currency. So it appears that Russia intends to keep all these occupied areas under their control and probably want to make them a part of Russia itself. As far as continuation of the war is concerned, see, it does not look likely that this conflict will end anytime soon. There was a meeting in Germany of America with 40 countries which have decided to provide military equipment to Ukraine, and they have decided to meet now every month. It will be a monthly affair, which gives a signal that probably this war will continue for months, if not longer. Over to you.
All right, the war will continue for months. Rajesh, I'll ask you one quick question. That seems to suggest that this is going to be a long-drawn war. Now, we also are getting an indication that possibly, like we suggested, that, the course of this war, after the flush of weaponry from, NATO, from America, from Europe, now it seems, maybe not the upper hand, but Ukraine is giving a befitting response. Will we see Ukraine now push for territories that have been occupied?
Undoubtedly. I mean, Ukraine forces are fighting back, and they have made gains in certain areas. And I said as I said, this flush of weaponry you're talking about forced Russia to vacate whole of North Ukraine and areas around Kyiv. In the coming days, we will see probably attacks even on Russian territory. If you remember, it was the foreign minister of Britain who said that Ukraine is free to use heavy weapons provided by Britain to attack Russian territories. So we might see in coming days Ukraine even attacking areas inside Russia. Over to you.
All right, appreciate you joining us, Rajesh. We're going to come back to you. Well, the latest is dramatic images of an explosion from the Black Sea. And these are drones that have attacked the Russian naval fleet. How many vessels have actually come under attack? We are waiting for more information to filter in. Meanwhile, this is an exclusive India Today report from the forward base of Ukrainian military, which is now in ruins. As Russia intensifies its assault, Russian forces making advances in the region, but Ukraine holding on to positions even in Donbass.
This is a forward base of the Ukrainian military, which was recently hit by missile strikes from the Russian side. There have been several such missile strikes, especially close to the Donbass region where the fighting is taking place. In fact, the battle has intensified in this area and the frequency of such strikes has gone up. This military base, which was very critical for the Ukrainians, has been completely ruined. This has turned into debris, and in fact this place where we are was an important gas storage facility for the Ukrainian military, also a place where a lot of vehicles were parked. We can see the vehicles completely charred, and this is the story of the fighting that is taking place close to the Donbass area. We are told that the Russian forces are barely 10 kilometers away from here, holding on to their positions, but the Ukrainians, on the other hand, are also defending their key locations. Even though this area, this military base, has come under heavy military strikes, it's still in possession of the Ukrainians. The Ukrainians are still holding on to this position, which is very close from where the Russians are. The Russians are trying to make sure they can move forward and advance towards areas closer to Kharkiv so that they can cut off the supply lines that are ensuring that the Ukrainian forces can hold on to their positions in the Donbass region. The fighting is intensifying in the Donbass region, and we are told that in days to come, this will be a very critical factor to decide which way the tide will turn. Russia wants to completely liberate the Donbass region, but Ukrainians are holding on and defending some of the key positions. In fact, the Ukrainian forces say that this is a liberated zone. The Russians were forced to retreat from here, and that's the reason why they have intensified missile strikes in the last few days. From one of the forward locations close to the Donbass region, this is Abhishek Bhalla with camera person Parminder Sharma for India Today.
Meanwhile, as Russia continues to batter Ukraine and the war enters the third month, Russianization of Melitopol is underway. Red Soviet victory flags have been hoisted at many places. This exercise is being carried out in all captured territories because just having the Russian flag made Russians look like invaders. Here's the ground report.
We are back in Melitopol 2 weeks and we see a huge change at the Freedom Square here in Melitopol. You can see the communist flag going up where once the Ukrainian flag flew proudly. Below it you can see the ribbon of George, which represents military valor and is a symbol and sign for Russia and Russian military prowess. So that George, the St. George orange and black ribbon is visible. This very same place had Melitopol written in Russian and now all Ukrainian. So very clear message over here that this Melitopol city, while not a part of the Donbass region, is a part of the erstwhile Soviet. And so the people over here who are of Russian origin, many of them, are not only being asked to show their loyalty to the Russian flag, which flies right here on the atop the city center. Earlier it was the cultural center, the Taras Shevchenko Center. That's the Russian flag. But a message to the people of Melitopol that it's not just the Russian flag, but also the big red communist flag. That's going up to show that this place was a part of Russia and in all probability will be a part of Russia. With video journalist Satya Rautre in Melitopol, Geeta Mohan for India Today. The blue and yellow of the fountain has completely changed. It's now aqua green and blue. The colors of Ukrainian flag absolutely removed from this entire Melitopol area. That's the Freedom Square. And you can hear the Russian songs, Russian national songs, victory songs, military songs. Katyusha playing right behind me, a song that has been an inspiration for all the officers who have been here and who have been fighting. Melitopol certainly does not seem like it is going to go back to Ukraine. The colors have changed and so has the atmosphere here in the city of Melitopol. With video journalist Satya Rautre in Melitopol, Geeta Mohan for India Today. What's your name?
Bogdan.
And yours?
Ivan. Yaroslav.
Are you all ice skaters? Do you all come?
No. We see
Friend?
friend, yes.
Oh, you've come to see your friend?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't have money.
To ice skating. Okay. But the ice skating rink was shut, was closed. It is open again. Are you happy about that?
Yes, of course. She starts open in February.
Okay. And were you sad that they shut it?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Are you happy with the things right now in Melitopol?
Yes, Melitopol one love. Melitopol, Ukraine.
Oh, okay, all right. What about you? What's your name?
My name is Juan.
Okay. Are you happy that the skating rink is open again?
Yes.
Yeah?
Happy.
Very happy? Okay, all right. Thank you so much. Thank you. What's your name?
Yaroslav.
Yaroslav. Are you from Melitopol?
Yes.
And are schools open now or schools are not open?
No, school is closed.
Yeah? Do you want it to open soon?
Yes.
Yeah?
Maybe yes.
Yeah? Are you okay with the situation right now?
No, it's not. Oh, yes, it's not good.
Take care, stay safe, and we're only hoping that few people do well.
Meanwhile, Ukrainian officials still manage the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant. Russia's Rosatom representatives are demanding daily reports from the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant management on confidential issues regarding the operation of the nuclear power plant. Here's more.
This is a world exclusive. India Today is at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant in Energodar. This now is under Russian control. There are two reactors that are operational here in Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. This is the largest in Europe and sixth largest in the world. So a very important critical infrastructure now under the control of Russia. We do not really know whether if Russia is going to hand it over back to the Ukrainian side, but what we're told is that in the reactors inside, there were reports that there were damages to the first reactor, but as we see when we were entering the reactor, the plant, the reactors have been untouched. It's the training facility right at the gate, at the entrance of the plant that came under attack in the crossfire, and the damage is quite visible. But over here, when we see the plant, there isn't any damage, which clearly shows that the attack and the crossfire did not take place within the facility, and the facility is secure. We are also told that even now the reactors are being operational and being operated by the Ukrainian professionals and who were a part of this entire facility. They have not left. They're still there. They're still working inside. We'll be going inside and showing you exactly how the two reactors over here of the 6 blocks that we see are operating. Video journalist Satya Rautre at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant in Energodar, Geeta Mohan for India Today. This is one of the most sensitive sites when it comes to the war between Russia and Ukraine. Russia is in control of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. But should there be a fight to reclaim this territory, this area, this sensitive area could pose severe threat not just to Ukraine but also to Russia. Therefore, the Russians now are completely have taken control of the power plant, but the machinations and the workings and the functioning is still under Ukrainian control. How they're going to really manage and balance this is something we'll have to wait and see. There are reports that Rosatom certainly will be sending its own officials to take over the plant. When that happens is something we'll have to wait and see. We came from the other side, and if Satya can show us, the entrance is where a training center was completely caught under fire and was destroyed. But apart from that destruction, all through the stretch that we entered, the main gate up till now, this is block 1 and block 2, we've not seen any destruction. We'll again have to wait and see what happens when we go inside. But right now, the buildings over here do not show any signs of any destruction or any signs of fight, gun battle, shelling that could have taken place over here. So a very sensitive area being handled rather sensitively by both sides. There has been no crossfire, shelling or fight over here, and one only hopes that it remains this way, whether if Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant remains with Ukraine or goes to Russia. The fact that it is sensitive and it could pose great and grave danger is the most important point over here. With video journalist Satya Rautre at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, Geeta Mohan for India Today. This is the training center that came under the crossfire between Ukraine and Russian forces. The damage is quite visible, and this was the reason why there was a huge alarm about what the safety and security of the nuclear power plant is really going to be. Massive damage over there, if you can see the building, but it is far away, outside the gate of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, which is right in front of that training center. But that first came under attack. The strategy in all probability was that if that is the extent of damage that can be done, imagine if something happens over here, what will be the fate of the people and the region. Russians having taken control of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. With journalist Satya Rautre in Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, Geeta Mohan for India Today.
All right, with that, we're going to wrap up this edition of news, but we're going to leave you with this. The Russian-Ukraine war has been on for close to 70 days, but why most of the world will not stand up for Russia? Akshita, my colleague, explains.
Russia's invasion of Ukraine has left the world divided, and the big question is, why is it that most of the world won't stand up to Russia? Let's break that down for you. Starting off with us, with India. Russia accounts for over 49% of Indian arms imports, which is worth £10 billion a year. Secondly, Russia is offering an enormous discount of $35 per barrel for the best Ural-grade oil. What about Turkey? Well, for Turkey, it's important to retain the 46% of its gas imported from Russia. Similarly, for the Middle East, Russian ties are crucial on 3 grounds: security, trade, and oil. Of course, when UAE is facing attacks from the Houthis, you have the United States not reacting, but Russia voted for UAE's resolution against them in Security Council. Countries like Jordan and Israel rely on Russian-backed groups to fight against their enemy, Iran, present in war-hit Syria. UNSC is set to vote on continuing humanitarian aid in northwestern Syria in July. If upset, Russia can stall that resolution. Then there's trade. For countries like Lebanon, Egypt and Algeria, both Russia and Ukraine are major sources for wheat imports, and abstention is their only way out to avoid a major food crisis in their countries. Then comes the energy concerns as well. In 2016, Russia became a member of OPEC+, an extension of oil and petroleum exporting countries organization. Russia's collaboration with Saudi has been a major help in managing the oil supplies and oil prices. What about Latin America? Well, the presence of Latin American nations in global politics is negligent, but there are countries like Mexico, like Argentina and Brazil, which have been approached by the United States to follow the sanction plans against Russia. Right before the war broke out, Argentinian President Alberto Fernandez met with Putin and expressed a desire for Argentina becoming a gateway for Russia in Latin America, indicating the trades and lesser dependence on the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, and the United States. For Brasilia President Bolsonaro, ties with Russia are crucial with regards to the import of fertilizer in Brazil. And Mexico's basis for neutrality is that it wants good relations with all countries. What about Africa? Well, Africa stands divided either against the resolution or abstaining during voting. The reason? Security and trade ties. Russia is a crucial defense partner for nations like Ethiopia, Eritrea, and Libya. For Nigeria, the US halted the arms supply. It turned to Moscow for help to beat Boko Haram. The other reason is also China's stance, as it's the biggest trade partner of Africa, surpassing the United States in 2009. Russia is Africa's biggest market for apples and for pears. Above that is a deal that Africa will be signing for gas with the Russian state-owned firm Gazprom, which is what supplies to most of the world. Now, the Western campaign to punish Putin is far from succeeding, but the war has made every nation revisit its strategic interests and sing a song of survival.
Действительно уникальное оружие будет укреплять боевой потенциал наших вооруженных сил. Надежно обеспечит безопасность России от внешних угроз и заставит задуматься тех, кто в полуоголтелой агрессивной риторике пытается угрожать нашей стране.
Putin wants his enemies to think twice before threatening Russia, as he claims to have one of the world's most powerful missiles. Russia test-launched the Sarmat missile, a new nuclear-capable intercontinental ballistic weapon. So how powerful is the weapon, and should his enemies be really worried? As per Russian media, Sarmat is a three-stage liquid-fueled missile with a range of 18,000 kilometers. The missile is 35.3 meters long and 3 meters in diameter. But what makes it so unique and powerful is its mechanism to elude anti-missile defense systems. So the enemy surveillance system will have it harder to track the Sarmat missiles. The missile has been in the works since the 2000s. According to news reports, Russia's nuclear forces will start taking delivery of the new missile once the testing is complete. The Sarmat, dubbed Satan II by Western analysts, also includes the Kinzhal and the Avangard hypersonic missiles. Russia said it used Kinzhal for the first time in warfare to strike a target in Ukraine. Let's hear it from Putin himself as he explains how unique Sarmat missiles are.
Новый комплекс обладает высочайшими тактико-техническими характеристиками и способен преодолевать все...
A treatment for cancer using the body's defense mechanism, that's the principle of immunotherapy. Unlike conventional treatments like chemotherapy or radiotherapy, which target the tumor itself, immunotherapy stimulates the patient's immune response. Cancer cells neutralize the immune system's defenses, allowing cancerous cells to multiply in the body. There are many ways of waking and instructing the immune system to eliminate cancer cells. Immunotherapy uses various tools like vaccination, targeted antibody therapies in which proteins in the immune system are capable of recognizing undesirable cells and eliminating them, and immunomodulators, substances that stimulate the immune response. Another strategy uses cell therapy. A sample of white cells known as lymphocytes are taken from the patient before being genetically modified to enable them to recognize cancer cells. These super lymphocytes are then re-injected into the body to attack the cancer. Used today to treat blood cancer and inoperable or advanced stage cancers, these therapies have raised hopes for the treatment of other types of cancer. Immunotherapy only works for a minority of patients, however. It can also have serious side effects, such as autoimmune reactions by the body to healthy cells. Cost is also a factor. The bill can be as large as several hundreds of thousands of euros per patient.
You are watching
in association with Vistara. Fly the new feeling.
Adulation, personal connect, affectionate pats, obliging young fans, signing autographs. Amid Modi and Bharat Mata charms, Modi's Big Diaspora Connect in Berlin.
Good evening. You're watching our continuous coverage of Prime Minister Modi arriving in Berlin as part of his 3-day visit. I'm Preeti Chaudhary. I'm going to get you the latest, but let me take you through the headlines. The Indian Prime Minister is in Berlin as part of his 3-day, 3-nation tour to Europe. We'll hold bilateral talks with German Chancellor Olaf Scholz at 4:15 p.m. Day after Raj Thakkre's big loudspeaker ultimatum, Mahavikas Aghadi government hints at blinking. Sena Neta says loudspeakers will be removed from temples as well as mosques. Sena and BJP Hindutva war. Maharashtra Chief Minister says BJP cheated his father Bala Sahib in name of Hindutva. Fadnavis says Sena with Hindutva fake skipped Babri demolition. Mumbai court to rule on the bail pleas of MP Navneet Rana and husband Ravi Rana today. Will the duo get relief in Hanuman Chalisa sedition case? Massive political face-off in Hyderabad's Osmania University after Congress MP Rahul Gandhi's entry is blocked over no political meeting policy. Russia continues to pound Ukraine. Exclusive report from forward areas in Donbass. India today travels to Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant, now under Russian control.
This is a world exclusive. India today is at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant in Energodar. This now is under Russian control.
This is a forward base of the Ukrainian military, which was recently hit by missile strikes from the Russian side. This military base, which was very critical for the Ukrainians, has been completely ruined.
Europe. All right, the Indian Prime Minister's whirlwind European tour comes in the backdrop of a war raging in Ukraine, which has entered its 3rd straight month. Modi has a packed itinerary during the 65-hour trip, with as many as 25 meetings with 8 world leaders. And much of the hard work will go towards finding a way to deal with the Ukraine war and the Russian conundrum. European powers firmly believe that India, with its steadfast neutral stand on Ukraine, is in a position to influence Moscow. India has withstood pressure from anti-Russian axis and continued its meager oil imports from Russia, which is much less than what the West imports. India has also unequivocally sought end to the war while stopping shortage of actual slamming Russia.
I
want to connect right now to Geeta, and we'll cut across to my colleague Anjana as well. Anjana reports out of Berlin. Geeta's joining me, getting us the very latest from Russia occupation of Ukraine. Geeta, you know, all of this visit happens in the backdrop of where you are right now with a war which is raging between Russia and Ukraine. How does that play out in what has been in the last 3 months immense diplomatic pressure on India to conform to a particular diplomatic line?
Well, Preeti, the visit comes at a very important juncture. Although it was a visit that was planned, the Germany visit, that's the first part of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's tour, is to begin with and to hold the 6th intergovernmental consultations between India and Germany. So a scheduled visit, but comes at a juncture where Germany, then Denmark, and then France, all the countries are going to look at India and look to India as to what India is going to do with regards to Russia and Ukraine. But Preeti, like we've seen in the visits in the past, where so many leaders have come down to New Delhi, had come down to New Delhi and impressed upon India the need to take a side, India has made it very clear that India's strategic interests do not lie in taking a side, but rather understanding the larger picture and perspective as to what is really happening between Russia and Ukraine. Russia's concerns also have been taken into account by India, and when the conversations take place, no invasion can really be justified. But when the conversation takes place for India, India will again send out the very same message that strategic interests, economic interests are paramount for India, and India has actually suffered the brunt of the West not standing by India after the withdrawal of troops from Afghanistan. So India does not want to be caught in that space yet again, and is the reason why they will continue also. Historic strategic ties between Russia and India cannot be ignored. So yes, that will certainly be a huge part of the conversations that will take place between German Chancellor Olaf Scholz and Prime Minister Narendra Modi today. But India has already put forth its stand and will continue to maintain that.
You know, Geeta, stay on with me. We're also going to be connected by my colleague Abhishek Bhalla, who's also reporting and getting us the very latest from Ukraine. But meanwhile, India today spoke to the Foreign Minister of Russia and Ukraine. Listen into this.
Speaking of India, India is under immense pressure to sever ties, to cut down imports of energy, of fuel. But India has stood its ground. In terms of reliability, is there a concern that India should have with regards to the kind of defense cooperation both countries have? Could there be delays in deliveries of critical weapon systems that India is buying from Russia, such as the S-400s? What is the conversation that you've been having with New Delhi on this front?
Well, India is our very, very old friend. We called our relationship long ago strategic partnership. Then, about 20 years ago, the Indian friends said, why don't we call it privileged strategic partnership? And sometime later they said, not enough. Let's call it especially privileged strategic partnership. This is the unique description of any bilateral relations, I think, of India and of Russia. And with India, we have, long before all this became such a hot potato, we supported Prime Minister Narendra Modi's concept, Make in India, and we started, substituting the simple trade with local production, shifting production of the goods needed by India on your territory. And it was for quite a number of years already that we have been promoting the use of our national currencies in settlements between the companies of two countries and the governments of two countries, promoting the national financial information systems. transmission systems when you like SWIFT, you know, but you have your own, we have our own, and they're being used more and more. Payment cards, we have MIR system, you have RuPay. They are mutually supportive, and it's not, you know, huge percentage of the overall volume of trade, but it is steadily growing. And on defense, we can provide anything India wants, and the technology transfer in the context of defense cooperation is absolutely unprecedented for any of India's outside partners.
So what would you like, therefore, India to do? Because India says, this is not a war we started. We've had, as you said, a special relationship with Russia. We have a good relationship with Ukraine. We want to stay neutral. We do not want to be seen to be taking one side. We want the wars to stop. That's what the Indian Prime Minister has said. We want the fighting to stop. We want peace to return. What would you like India to do more beyond that?
We appreciate the sympathy coming from the leadership of India to Ukraine. We also appreciate the position of India that the war must stop. At the same time, I cannot but mention that under these circumstances, neutrality is the position that doesn't help stopping the war. The best way to stop the war is to support Ukraine and to leave Russia with no illusions that it may win the war, because other countries will either stay neutral, not get involved in it, or somehow will support Russia. So in my view, in a situation when you have an obvious criminal and a victim of his crime, it's a moral and politically wise duty to be on the side of the victim.
So what you're saying is India should isolate Russia totally. You know that India is dependent on Russia for defense equipment. We have strong ties, economic ties, oil, gas, energy. You're saying isolate Russia completely, because India will turn around and say, look, the same Western nations that call for sanctions continue, parts of Europe continue to deal for their energy needs with Russia. So you're calling for a total isolation of Russia. India will turn around and say, well, the West must also walk the talk on that, Mr. Foreign Minister.
Well, the West is not only talking the talk about the isolation of Russia, it's also walking the walk. It has done a lot so far. My second point is that India is a big democratic country. And it would be more than natural for India to stand by democracies in this struggle, because the war between Russia and Ukraine is also a war between democratic world and an authoritarian regime. So I think it would be the most natural choice for India to stand by democracies, not by the other side. When it comes to military cooperation, according to the information that I possess, Russia is not as reliable supplier of defense equipment to India as one might think. There are many issues related to it. And then be pragmatic, look at the battlefield. Ukraine effectively destroys the most advanced Russian weapons on the battleground. So the question is it really in the interests of India to buy weapons which do not survive on the battleground from an army not as advanced as the Russian one? And finally, trade and economic relations. India is a global power. India has future in the world. India is on the rise. Russia is in decline. Choosing the right trade partners, strategic trade partners, is something that will make India even stronger. Yes, you have to reorient some of your trade flows, you have to find alternative suppliers of oil and other commodities, but leaders always have to think strategically. And there is no place for strong Russia in the future. Russia is getting weaker and weaker.
I want to cut across back to my colleague Geeta and Abhishek Bhalla, who are joining us. Abhishek from Ukraine, Geeta from Russia-occupied occupied Ukraine. But Abhishek, we spoke to Geeta a short while ago, and I want to come to you as well. What's the kind of emotion that you're picking up? Because we just heard the tracks of both foreign ministers, one of Russia, one of Ukraine. All of this is also taking place in the backdrop of the Indian Prime Minister in Berlin. There's bound to be diplomatic pressure on him. There has been in the past as well of, possibly that to change India's neutral diplomatic line.
Well, the sense here, Preeti, is that yes, India should take a stand, and people expect a lot from India, be it officials or civilians that I have spoken to, and they are happy that, India's stand has throughout been that there needs to be peace and the war needs to stop, and they expect a lot from India. And one of the most interesting things that I've picked up is that, this logic that India has a long-standing relationship with Russia doesn't really hold, because, the sense that people have is that they have a long-standing relationship with Soviet Russia and not just with Russia. So in that sense, they expect India to take a stand in favor of Ukraine. But obviously, there are diplomatic ties between India and the current Russia, and it's not going to be easy. But the fact that India has abstained even proposals put by Russia in the UN is something that the people here have taken very well. And as far as the fighting and the war is concerned, they are expecting India to take a stand, even though, India has not completely, gone against what Russia has said. But yes, there is a sense that India needs to change its neutral stand and tilt towards Ukraine.
All right, just stay on with me, Geeta and Abhishek. I'm going to come right back. Prime Minister Modi arrives in Berlin on the first leg of his three-nation Europe trip, which he will now hold bilateral discussions with German Chancellor and co-chair the Indian-German intergovernmental consultations. Now, from Berlin, Modi will travel to Copenhagen tomorrow, where he will have a bilateral meeting with Prime Minister Frederiksen, during which the two leaders would review the progress in India's unique green strategic partnership with Denmark. On the 4th of May, he, during a brief stopover in Paris, will hold talks with newly re-elected French President Emmanuel Macron. Prime Minister Modi's three-nation tour comes in midst of Russia's relentless assault on Ukraine.
आपको बता दें कि जैसे प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी भी संबोधित करेंगे और उसके बाद जर्मन चांसलर
I want to cut across back to my colleague Geeta Mohan and our former foreign affairs editor. Geeta, how do you see this visit pan out? Because the Prime Minister is going to go across to three nations. Do you see that there will be pressure possibly on him to make a public statement on what's going down in the East?
Well, certainly one thing I can say for sure, Preeti, is that there is a line that needs to be drawn. Thus far and no further. We know that Europe has tried to put enough pressure on India, and the stance has remained the same. A federal minister from Germany was in New Delhi ahead of Prime Minister's visit, and he very clearly said that we are not going to lecture India on Ukraine and Russia. We saw the same kind of conversation and messaging from the UK. So I suppose the European world has understood that there is no changing India's stand. All that can be done is we should look at and focus on what the joint statement will, how the joint statement will mention the Russia-Ukraine war, what India's position publicly is going to be in terms of a statement when they talk about, and it will only talk about cessation of violence and a negotiated settlement between the two sides. Beyond that, asking India to be a part or partake in the sanctions is certainly not something that Germany is going to do, because they have already said that they're not going to lecture India. They want India to take a stand, but that's not something that is on their agenda. India is a very important market, a very important partner country for Germany, and they would not want that compromised in this visit.
All right, appreciate Abhishek and Geeta for joining us. What's also interesting is, I would reckon, the narrative has already from India's side been set by our own Foreign Affairs Minister, Mr. Jaishankar, who made it very, very clear that this is the line which is, who drew the proverbial line in the sand. With that, I want to cut across to the latest coming in. Prime Minister Modi, who arrived in Germany on the first leg of his three-day tour, got a rousing welcome from the Indian diaspora. PM's Berlin visit started with meeting Indian diaspora in midst of chants of Modi and Vande Mataram. Prime Minister's interaction began with signing autographs, affectionate pats and obliging young fans. Many kids along with their parents were present at the hotel, waving at the Prime Minister's arrival. Prime Minister also interacted with a little girl who presented him with a portrait of his picture and called him her icon. Later today, Prime Minister is scheduled to meet German Chancellor. The two leaders will co-chair the 6th edition of the India-German Intergovernmental Consultations.
मैं बोलूँगी कि मेरे को आज बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है क्योंकि मैं प्राइम मिनिस्टर से मिली, मोदी जी से, और मैंने जब उनको ये पेंटिंग दिखाई उन्होंने बोला शाबाश, और उन्होंने मेरे को ये सिग्नेचर दिया अपना, और उन्होंने अपने सिग्नेचर के ऊपर वंदे मातरम भी लिखा है, इसलिए मैं बहुत खुश हूँ।
आपको तो वंदे मातरम भी लिखा हुआ मिला है, वंदे मातरम नरेंद्र मोदी ऑटोग्राफ मिला।
हाँ, और मैंने उन्हें बोला कि यू आर माई आइकॉन, और मैं बहुत खुश हूँ कि आई एम प्राउड कि वो हमारे देश के प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी हैं।
आपने बोला यू आर एन आइकॉन?
यस।
और उनका क्या रिस्पॉन्स था?
लाइक ही डिड लाइक दिस।
तो हाउ आर यू फीलिंग? अब आपके लिए कैसी खुशी है?
इट वाज लाइक माय ड्रीम केम ट्रू।
ये आपने खुद से बनाई है ना? तो ये कितने दिन में बनाई?
1 डे।
एक दिन में? मान्या मिश्रा जय हिंद लिखा आपने? हाँ,
yes.
और फिर बना के और आज पीएम को दिखा दिया, तो मतलब जो काम जहाँ पहुँचना था वो हो गया।
यस यस।
अब फीलिंग रिलीव्ड? अभी भी धड़कन तेज है?
यस।
धड़कन तेज है, एक्साइटेड?
यस।
तो मान्या इज हैप्पी नाउ?
यस यस।
चलिए, कुछ बोलना चाहेंगे आप जो इंडियंस देख रहे हैं उनको?
वंदे मातरम, जय हिंद।
डैड साहब भी बहुत खुश है, बेटी एकदम खूब मजा आया आज बच्ची के साथ।
बहुत ऐसे राजा जो बहुत ही दयालु हैं और अपनी प्रजा के लिए सच में दिल से सोचते हैं, क्योंकि जो मोदी जी ने भारतवर्ष के लिए किया है उसको हैट्स ऑफ। और ये हम सबका एक सपना था यहाँ पे कि मोदी जी हमारे बीच में हैं आज, और भले ही ठीक है उनका बहुत शॉर्ट विजिट है, और लेकिन एक फीलिंग जो हम लोगों के अंदर पिछले 1 हफ्ते या 10 दिन से थी कि हम मोदी जी से मिलने वाले, जो एक्साइटमेंट हमारे अंदर था, आज वो एक सपना हमारा साकार हो गया मोदी जी से मिलके। ही इज एक्चुअली ट्रू प्राइम मिनिस्टर।
ये वो लोग हैं जो प्रधानमंत्री से मिलने के बाद जबरदस्त जोश में। कैसा है आप लोगों का जोश? अब बताइए, पीएम से मीटिंग कैसी रही?
बहुत अच्छी रही। पीएम मोदी ने सबको झुके नमस्कार किया, और वो हमारे लिए बहुत बड़ा एक उत्साह भरा टाइम था। और हमें बाहर से मोदी की आवाजें, उत्साह इतना डबल हो गया कि हम अंदर से चिल्ला
नारेबाजी कर रहे थे।
बिल्कुल, क्योंकि बाहर से सुनाई दिया, हमें समझ आ गया कि मोदी जी लैंड हो गए और अब आने वाले हैं, तो हमने भी अंदर शुरू कर दिया।
आपके लिए?
हम बहुत दिनों से तैयारी कर रहे हैं। जब मोदी जी आए, सबको मिले, हाय हेलो किया, किसी को पूछा कि कैसे हो आप, तो बहुत अच्छा लगा। मैंने उनको मराठी में बात की, उन्होंने रिप्लाई भी दिया।
क्या बोला आपने मराठी में?
मैं बोला की मोदी जी तुमचं बर्लिन मध्ये स्वागत आहे, तर ते म्हणले धन्यवाद मित्रा।
अच्छा, और आप मुझे बता, अंदर से सबसे ज्यादा नारे कौन लगा रहा था?
मोदी 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 मोदी।
पूरा एक्साइटमेंट रहा अंदर में?
बहुत एक्साइटमेंट तो बहुत था। मैं पुणे से आता हूँ, तो मैंने आके ही मैं पहले नंबर पे ही मैं था। तो आते ही मोदी जी ने मेरे पास हाथ बढ़ाया, तो हाथ बढ़ाया, मैंने बोला मोदी जी कसे आहात? तो मोदी जी ने बोला कि हाँ मस्त मजे, तुम भी कसे आहात? तो फिर हम, मेरे बाजू में और एक सिस्टर थी, तो उनसे पूछ रहे थे कि आप तो सुबह 3 बजे से यहाँ पे हो, बहुत ठंडी में, हाँ आप कैसे, अभी ठीक है क्या? तो हम लोग की भी काफी, उन लोगों ने बात किया हम लोग से।
ये मिनी इंडिया क्या, मतलब हर जगह के लोग। और आप भी
थोड़ा लगाइए, माइक लगाइए, धड़कन कुछ सुनाई दे रही है? अभी तक इतनी धड़कन बढ़ी हुई है कि कुछ इसका सवाल ही नहीं है ना।
अभी तक धड़कन
तेज है।
और धड़कन तो 20 दिन से ही चल रही है।
वो भी सही बात है। यस, बहुत ही बढ़िया लगा। मतलब इट्स लाइक वंस इन अ लाइफ टाइम। पहले तो हम लोग 2015 में मिले थे उनसे, बट ये तो बहुत ही स्पेसिफिक रहा, बहुत ही बढ़िया।
गला बैठ गया है तो वो निशानी है सबसे ज्यादा।
लेकिन हाँ, आज का एनकाउंटर बहुत ही अच्छा था, बहुत नजदीक से था। और 2015 में भी मिले थे, बट आज वाला बहुत यूनिक था।
आपके लिए?
बहुत ही बढ़िया और वंस इन अ लाइफ टाइम अपॉर्चुनिटी।
तो धड़कन तेज हो गई है, बताइए, अब कोई इलाज खोजिए मत।
हाँ, मैं तो गिर
हमने आके उनकी मदद की, क्योंकि हम 3 बजे से तैयार होके निकले हुए थे, 2 घंटे अंदर फोटो के लिए वेट किए, और फिर जब वो आए तो लगा हम अभी से इतने तरोताजा हैं कि हम उनका पूरे लाइफ टाइम वेट कर सकते हैं।
अभी बताइए, आप मिल पाए?
हाँ, मिल पाए। हम एकदम सामने खड़े थे, आते बराबर मोदी जी ने कहा शुक्रिया, आप लोग इतने सुबह से आए हुए हैं। तो हमें बहुत अच्छा लगा वो सुन के कि उन्हें भी पता है कि लोग कितने वेट कर रहे हैं उनका और उत्साहित है उनके लिए।
बिल्कुल, जैसे वो हमारे तरफ आए और नमस्ते करके जो मोमेंट था, मतलब आई कैन।
और ढोल, आप ढोल बजाने वाले हैं तो ढोल में इनके अब ज्यादा जोश होगा, पूरा ढोल ताशा है इंटू 200 पावर।
हम लोग रात भर सोए नहीं है, ओनली विद द थॉट ऑफ दैट 1 मिनट झलक ऑफ उनकी, और इतना एनर्जी, इतना पॉजिटिव, इतना कैरिस्मेटिक पर्सनालिटी है उनका, वी कैन नॉट गेट ओवर इट।
I'm going to get into a quick break. To stay with me on the other side, details coming in on the alleged custodial death of Vignesh in Chennai. Stay with me.
India Today TV wins big awards at ENBA 2021. Bags the best channel of the year. Shines bright with 15 goals. Gaurav Sawant, Best Anchor, English. Preeti Chaudhary, Best Continuing Coverage by a Reporter, English. Shivarur, Best Anchor, English. Udayan Mukherjee, Best Business Program, English. Rahul Kamal, News Director of the Year. India Today Group sweeps with a record 90 awards. India Today Group, the gold standard of journalism.
When it's the world's biggest news story, there's only one gold standard of journalism. When it's the world's biggest news story, there's only one gold standard of journalism.
Meanwhile, a CCTV video of Vignesh, who allegedly died in police custody, has now surfaced. In the video, 2 cops can be seen chasing Vignesh. Vignesh then falls, he's beaten, held by the collar and taken away by the cops. Vignesh died on the 19th April after being arrested by the cops along with his friend Suresh. His custodial death has now become a big political issue in Tamil Nadu. His brother has alleged that the police tried to give him 1 lakh to hush the case. Prabhu, an eyewitness, had earlier claimed that the cops stopped and checked Vignesh and Suresh using FaceTag app, which showed Suresh had several cases pending against him. Prabhu claimed that when the police questioned Vignesh, he handed over a knife he had. He told cops that the knife was to cut grass for the horses he used to give rides along the Marina beach. The eyewitnesses say the cops allegedly hit Vignesh very badly. Meanwhile, police stated that Vignesh and Suresh caused ruckus and that Vignesh used the knife to attack cops, after which he was arrested. The cops claim Vignesh had a seizure on 19th morning while having breakfast and then was taken to the hospital where he was declared brought dead, leading to the suspension of a sub-inspector, a constable and a home guard. All right, viewers, up next, all the entertainment news in the club with my colleague Dipali.
There's nobody closer to the battle.
Massive shelling. This entire camp was attacked. And now we'll see how fierce the fighting is at the border.
Nobody closer to the line of fire. One team has the world riveted.
Visited joined Satya Rautre in Golvanaka, Geeta Mohan for India Today.
Welcome, you're watching In the Club. I am Dipali Patel. First up, our entertainment editor Tushar Joshi caught up with Benedict Cumberbatch, who spoke at length about his love for India, his upcoming action adventure Doctor Strange in Multi-Universe of Madness, and much more. Listen in to this conversation. Take a look.
Just got out of hand.
You break the rules.
Look out!
Become a hero. I do it, I become the enemy.
Hi, Benedict. Welcome to India Today.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. I have to begin by asking you about that scene with the cloak. We've had that moment where you and the cloak obviously have some sort of an altercation. If I take you back in time to the first time you wore the cloak and the suit, do you remember that moment and what was your reaction like?
It was my idea. It's the moment where I break away from Christine Palmer in the Origin movie in 2016, Doctor Strange, and it was an emotional scene, and I had to shed a tear. And then I said, wouldn't it be fun if Cloak started sort of wiping away the tear? And I was like, stop it, So it was sort of my idea, and I think from that, Cloak now has his own agent, he has his own contract, he has his own rider, he has his own team, he has everything that I gave him, and I get none of the credit. So I think I've had enough of the Cloak right now, No, I'm joking. It's a fun thing to interact with, even though it's not there like a lot of things in these films. And it's not, he does a lot of work on his own when Wong isn't there or is otherwise engaged as the Sorcerer Supreme, which is a sore point, as you know. So yeah, it's nice to have someone to talk to.
Right.
Every night, I dream the same dream. And then the nightmare begins. I did what I had to do to protect our world. You cannot control everything, Strange.
What do you make of this whole conversation that your character was purely reckless with what he did with the multiverse? And, the parallels that people are drawing between he's becoming more and more of Tony Stark, or he's taking that stream of thought. What is your take on this?
Very possibly. You have to wait and see what happens in this film. But he's quite an anarchist, and he likes to operate outside of the norms. He's someone who isn't constrained by rules. He's very adaptable, and that's both one of his strengths and one of his weaknesses, I guess. It leaves him vulnerable to certain dangers that he might be best at creating himself at times. I think. He's a renegade, and I like outsiders. I like people who are sort of trying to stretch the rules a little bit. They're a little bit more fun. But he is still trying to be good and do the right thing, just not necessarily the right way. So you have to wait and see what happens in this one. Wanda, what do you know about the multiverse?
Viz had his theories. He believed it was dangerous.
He was right.
I was just speaking to Wong before this, and I asked him and I spoke to him about the beautiful Asian heritage that has representation in MCU now.
Yes.
Given the fact that the world is becoming smaller, do you see a character with an Indian origin ever get placed in MCU?
It's about time, don't you think? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot more of the world still to include, but, you know, we're very happy one step at a time to be part of that story in our culture. And I think the inclusion of America Chavez in this film is a shining example of that, an LGBTQ plus community character who's representing in that regard, and also the Latino community as well. And she's bringing an awesome power. I mean, you know, once we get to the stage where this is normal and not a talking point, that alone should be enough. She's a very, very powerful character who can punch through the multiverse. So, but it's great. It's great as we evolve that these are stepping stones to a fully inclusive and diverse reflection of our world at large, our society at large.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, Stephen. Your desecration of reality will not go unpunished. We should tell him the truth.
Finally, what message for the Indian fans? You have a huge fan base in India. What would you like to tell them? Would you come visit us?
Oh man, yeah, in a heartbeat. I love India. I mean, I've got a little family, so that takes precedent. But maybe I can come and work there. I don't know, do a bit of filming there. I really, really love your country. It has been almost a lifetime since I was last there as a 19-year-old, but I had the most extraordinary and informative experience, really. Informative is not the right word. Formative is the right word. When I was teaching in a Tibetan Buddhist monastery in West Bengal, in their monastery, and staying there, sleeping there, and then working in the Tibetan community as well, the refugee community there, and then experiencing India at large. First of all, when I got up there, I went from Delhi across by train through Varanasi, and then on the way back, we stayed in Rajasthan for a month and journeyed around there. And I fell in love with the country, and that's only that part of it. I haven't even been to the south of India yet, let alone Ladakh and all other regions in the north that I'd love to visit. So it's a huge place, and I've only got one life, but I'm hoping that something will bring me back there soon.
Fingers crossed. Absolutely stoked to watch the film. Thank you so much for your time.
Welcome. Thank you for yours.
Now, Met Gala is just here, and the celebrities are all set to don their most extravagant and elaborated ensembles this year. Here's a look at some of the looks that rule the red carpet in fashion's biggest night ever.
This year, the Met Gala theme is In America, the Anthology of Fashion. We expect maximalism and dramatic ensembles this year. And ahead of the big Met Gala evening in New York City, we take a look at the most iconic looks that have ruled the red carpet in fashion's biggest night outs ever. In 1985, back in the day, Cher made heads turn in the costumes of the Royal India Gala, donning a Bob Mackie ensemble. She has also been known for her dramatic outfits, such as this one, which is popularly known as the naked dress. J-Lo slayed the red carpet in red. The theme was China through the looking glass, and Jennifer Lopez wore Atelier Versace with Donatella for the evening.
The body rocks. What do you do to keep the body rocking? What do you do?
You gotta put in the work like everybody else. Beautiful.
For the same theme, Rihanna took it a notch up, wearing Chinese designer Xiao Pei. The fashion police sure went gaga over Lady Gaga's Fashion in the Age of Technology theme, where she wore a leotard, high very high heels and a jacket made out of circuit boards. Electric and shocking.
Over this way, Gaga! Gaga!
In 2019, Lady Gaga did an entire performance at the Met Steps and presented 4 different looks. Just a year before that, Blake Lively came out looking like some real-life goddess. The theme was Heavenly Bodies, Fashion and Catholic Imagination Gala, and her Versace gown took all of just 600 hours to make. This year, all eyes are on the Met Gala 2022, and the looks are expected to be larger, more glamorous, more dramatic, and fashionably outrageous. In New Delhi, Chaiti Narula for India Today.
From Bollywood divas like Priyanka Chopra and Deepika Padukone to Indian businesswomen such as Isha Ambani and Natasha Poonawalla, our business beauties have made their appearances at Met Gala quite a few times. In this special report by me, we look back at In Time to give you a glimpse of what and who wear what at the biggest fashion event ever since their debut.
Met Gala is one of the biggest fashion events of the year, and just like A-listers from the West, Bollywood celebrities have also made quite an impact on the red carpet each year with their bold choices. Priyanka Chopra almost broke the internet with her dramatic debut at the 2017 Met Gala in beige Ralph Lauren trench gown. While this was the day when she met and made her first official and public appearance with her now husband, Nick Jonas, what our Desi girl actually made headlines for was her choice of outfit. And no wonder, Twitter had a field day. In 2018, Priyanka stepped out looking like a goddess. She was perfectly dressed for the theme Heavenly Bodies, Fashion and the Catholic Imagination. She opted for a burgundy velvet gown with a long train that was attached to an embellished hood. 2019 turned out to be yet another year when Priyanka triggered countless memes, courtesy her gown, hair, makeup and overall look. Like Priyanka, even Deepika Padukone made her Met Gala red carpet debut in the year 2017. She wore a gorgeous white slip dress by Tommy Hilfiger. The dress was sure a bold and risky one with a daring backless silhouette and slip details along the front. She finished her look with a hair accessory and a pair diamond earring. In 2018, Deepika Padukone was back on the red carpet. But this time around, she played it safe by opting for a red one-shoulder Prabal Gurung gown with a high thigh slit. The diva, for her 2019 red carpet appearance, Deepika looked no less than a princess. In fact, she opted for a pink Zac Posen gown and pulled her hair up in a Barbie-like ponytail. Similarly, Mukesh and Neeta Ambani's daughter Isha Ambani wore a cream Christian Dior couture dress for her Met Gala debut in 2017. But it was in 2019 when she turned many heads with a beautiful lilac creation by Prabal Gurung. Philanthropist and businesswoman Natasha Poonawalla, who made her Met Gala debut in 2018, complimented her Prabal Gurung illustrative gown with professionally blow-dried hair tucked in place and highlighted cheekbones with a classic red lip. Her fashion choices have always stood out, and this icy blue Dundas number she picked for Met Gala 2019 in fact also did not disappoint. Now off carpet, carpet, author, comedian, and YouTube sensation Lily Singh prefers a more understated look. But for her Met Gala debut, she transformed into a floral enigma as she wore a pink Jeremy Scott ensemble. Entertainment Bureau, India Today.
It's time for a short break now, but there's lots more coming up on the other side, so stay tuned to In the Club. Let us fly 7 seas across to Hollywood and check out the biggest newsmakers from the West. Here's our popular segment, Fully Foreign.
Angelina Jolie, who is a special envoy for the United Nations Refugee Agency since 2011, visited the Ukrainian city of Lviv to meet people displaced by the war with Russia. She later made a hasty retreat from a railway station as the air raid sirens rang out. The Hollywood star had come to interact with people who found refuge at the Kramatorsk railway station where they are undergoing treatment. The actress, during her visit, even surprised people in a Ukrainian coffee shop. Kim Kardashian and Pete Davidson made their red carpet debut as a couple. The duo indulged in some cute PDA moments as they posed together at the 2022 White House Correspondents' Association dinner. The reality star later also shared pictures on social media from the event, including a close-up of herself and the stand-up comedian holding hands. She captioned it as White House Din Din. Kim Kardashian and Pete Davidson started dating in 2021. Following Kardashian's Saturday Night Live episode, which was hosted by the former, and the latter was a part of a gig in its segment.
You coming? Yeah. I'm ready to use my third whip.
The couple had even made their appearance together at the Kardashians' premiere in Los Angeles.
It's the biggest phenomenon since disco.
Come on, you're not even fighting back.
Why would he fight back?
The majority cast of That 70s Show will be joining hands together for the upcoming Netflix spin-off of the show called That 90s Show.
Donna beat you in basketball? Is that a big deal?
According to reports, Mila Kunis, Ashton Kutcher, Topher Grace, Laura Prepon, and Valma Valderrama will each make guest appearances in the sequel series. In the spin-off, as the new young cast will be consisting of Ashley Ofterheit, Mace Coronel, Maxwell Ace Donovan, Ryan Doy, and Sam Moylos. The 70s Show was first aired on Fox in 1988 and had 8 seasons with a total of 200 episodes. In its move to cut costs, Netflix has cancelled development of Pearl, an animated series created by Meghan Markle's Archwell Productions. The show, which was announced last year, is one of the several projects being dropped by the streaming giant. The series was planned to center on the adventures of a 12-year-old girl who is inspired by influential women from history. As for other Archwell Productions, projects are still in development, including upcoming documentary series, Heart of Invictus. Meghan also recently announced her podcast with Spotify, titled Archetypes.
Hi, guys. How'd you find me?
You stole William Strang's Lady with the Red Hat from the tape.
You can't prove that was me.
Dwayne Johnson, who turns 50, shared a video on social media of an encounter he had with a couple of fans who showed up to the Madame Tussauds Wax Museum in Las Vegas to visit the latest wax figure, which celebrates his Teremana tequila.
Yo, my God, this is amazing. How you doing? Oh, I'm trembling right now.
In the video Johnson posted on Instagram, you can see a couple of fans posing with the wax figure as the actor hides in the background.
Oh my God, yo! Oh my God! Yo, no way! This is, I'm shaking.
That's not all. The actor also surprised fans and gave them each a bottle of his own tequila brand. Entertainment Bureau, India Today.
I'm trembling right now. It's amazing. You guys look better. You guys doing better. Yeah, they need that shirt. They need the shirt on there. It's a great looking shirt. Oh my God.
Let's check out what is keeping our celebrities busy. Here's all that's trending in Tinseltown. Kareena Kapoor Khan, who will be sharing screen space with Aamir Khan in their upcoming film, Lal Singh Chaddha, has recently shared this video where the lead pair can be seen blowing feather with their mouth while the latest song from their film, titled Kahani, is being played in the background. The actress captioned the post as "Here's the feather challenge with my hero Aamir Khan." Taking part in this feather challenge started by Bebo was her cousin Ranbir Kapoor and his mother Neetu Kapoor. The mother-son duo was out for dinner when they attempted this feather challenge with Lal Singh Chaddha filter. Directed by Advait Chauhan, Lal Singh Chaddha is an Indian adaptation of Tom Hanks' starrer Forrest Gump. The film is all set to hit cinemas on August 11, 2022. Akshay Kumar, who is known for his comic timing, took to social media to share this hilarious video. In the post, he can be seen making noise by rubbing the comb across his teeth as he made a funny face.
And the moon is the only light we'll see.
The actor also synced noise with the tune of the song titled Stand By Me that played in the backdrop.
And the land is dark, and the moon is the...
As Akshay mentioned, it is an act of sheer boredom. He further asked fans to laugh. He wrote, and we quote, "Key to happiness to be able to laugh at yourself." And on that note, here's an act which is a result of sheer boredom. Hope it makes you laugh. Please do laugh. It was actually painful. Meanwhile, on work front, Akshay is all geared up for his next film, Ram Setu, alongside Jacqueline Fernandez. The first look of the same was dropped on social media recently. Priyanka Chopra dropped a series of pictures from her sunny golf day with husband Nick Jonas. In the post, the two can be seen driving to the golf course, playing the game and posing alongside friends. In one of the pictures, Priyanka looked stunning in a white and black print court set. And guess what? Husband and singer Nick Jonas couldn't stop praising her. On work front, Priyanka has a couple of projects lined up, including Ending Things alongside Anthony Mackie. She also has It's All Coming Back to Me, where she will be sharing screen space with Sam Heughan and Celine Dion.
मैं तो सिर्फ एक चौथी फेल आम आदमी हूँ जिसकी एक बीवी है.
The makers of Ajay Devgan's starrer Drishyam 2 have roped in Akshay Khanna to play an important role.
लोग अपनी फैमिली के लिए क्या नहीं करते और तुम क्या करते हो? एक आइसक्रीम नहीं दिलवा सकते?
आइसक्रीम तो मार्टिन के यहाँ भी मिलती है.
Tabu, who reprises her role as Inspector General of Police Meera Deshmukh, took to social media to confirm the news as she welcomed the gem of an actor on board.
समीर देशमुख, आईजी मीरा देशमुख का इकलौता बेटा, 3 हफ्तों से मिसिंग है.
Directed by Abhishek Pathak, Drishyam 2 is a sequel of 2015's hit Drishyam, which was the remake of a Malayalam film of the same name. With Akshay Khanna as the new addition to the film, looks like the trouble is only going to increase for Akshay's character in Drishyam 2.
जल्दी हमारा पीछा नहीं छोड़ने वाले, वो फिर आएंगे.
Shahid Kapoor's wife Meera Rajput is living her best life, and her recent post from her girl gang trip to Dubai is a proof of that. From skydiving to spa sessions, high tea plans to dinner outings, and even mall marathon, Meera has been sharing a glimpse of her getaway on social media. Entertainment Bureau, India Today.
Told me the world is gonna roll me. I ain't the shot.
That's all we could pack in the show today. Till next time, thanks for watching and goodbye.
Mukesh Ambani is the owner of the second most expensive home in the world after Buckingham Palace. Here are the inside pictures of Antilia.
Antalya is located in one of the most expensive residential areas in the country, Mumbai's Altamont Road. The property rates here are mind-boggling, 80,000 rupees to 85,000 rupees per square foot. A 600-member staff is employed to keep the 27-storied building in order. The building boasts of 3 helipads, Mumbai's skyline and the Arabian Sea. Antalya is built to withstand an earthquake of even 8 on the Richter scale. Mukesh Ambani's love for cars is behind 6 floors of Antalya being devoted to garages. This space houses several luxury cars, including his 5 crore rupees Maybach. The garage can accommodate 168 cars. There's even a service station on the 7th floor. The recreation center spread across 2 floors has a yoga center, dance studio, jacuzzi, a health spa and several swimming pools. Antalya is equipped with its own ice cream parlor, a mega temple, a private theatre that can accommodate 50 people and a salon. The Ambani residence has 9 elevators designed to take the residents to specific floors. All of this makes Antalya worth a whopping $2 billion. In Indian currency, it's about 14,000 crore rupees.
You are watching watching India Today.
Prime Minister Modi's big splash in war-torn Europe. Prime Minister's Atmanirbhar foreign policy in action. Massive West expectations from India's Modi. India's neutrality forges shining new path. PM tour in wake of fight over neutrality. They said India isolated, then this happened. Spotlight on Modi's India during big war.
Rousing welcome for Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Berlin in Germany today. Remember, this is a part of the 3-day all-important 3-nation tour in Europe. We're getting you all the details up ahead on the show. This is India Today. I'm Sneha Mordani. The headlines first. Stalin government under fire for custodial deaths. India Today accesses shocking video of victim being chased and hit by cops. Family had alleged that he died of torture. Massive political face-off in Hyderabad's Osmania University after Congress MP Rahul Gandhi's entry is blocked over no political meeting policy. Day after Raj Thakre's big loudspeaker ultimatum, Maharashtra Vikas Aghadi government hints at blinking. Sena Neta says loudspeakers will be removed from temples as well as mosques. Sena and BJP Hindutva War. Maharashtra Chief Minister says BJP cheated his father, Bala Sahib, in the name of Hindutva. Fadnavis says Sena with fake Hindutva skipped Babri demolition. Mumbai court to rule on the bail plea of MP Navneet Rana and husband Ravi Rana today. Will the duo get relief in the Hanuman Chalisa sedition case? Russia continues to pound Ukraine. Exclusive report from forward areas in Donbas. India today also travels to Zaporizhia nuclear plant, now under Russian control.
The world exclusive. India today is at the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant in Energodar. This now is under Russian control.
This is a forward base of the Ukrainian military, which was recently hit by missile strikes from the Russian side. This military base, which was very critical for the Ukrainians, has been completely ruined.
1 year since Bengal post-poll violence, the BJP is holding a massive protest against the Mamata government. Families cry for justice. State of West Bengal saw bloodshed post the polls. Last year, remember, West Bengal had gone to polls in which the Trinamool Congress came out victorious. The BJP now, and at that point in time as well, had spoken about post-poll violence perpetrated by workers of the TMC. The party is now upping the ante against the Mamata government. My colleague Ritik is getting us more details on that big story, joining us right now from Kolkata. He will in fact be joining us shortly for more on that, but these are protests being held by the BJP against the post-poll violence that was seen in the state of Bengal last year. It's a massive protest being held by the BJP protesting against 1 year of inaction against the Mamata Banerjee government. Their families are crying for justice. State of West Bengal remembers our bloodshed post-polls last year. The BJP upping the ante against the Mamata Banerjee government in Bengal. Protests are being held in different parts of Bengal. Ritik is getting us more from the capital city of Kolkata. Ritik, the BJP upping its ante, talking about how 1 year on, there has been no justice for the victims of the violence perpetrated allegedly by workers of the TMC.
Right. At a time when Trinamool Congress government is observing the first anniversary of Mamata government after it retained in power for the third term, and the Bharatiya Janata Party and its states unit observing this anniversary as an anniversary of bloodshed and violence. Let me show you what exactly happening in the streets of Kolkata at this point in time, that we can see the huge number of spectators of Bharatiya Janata Party now. They are starting this rally heading towards the Rani Rashmani Avenue, which is the epicenter of the city. The rally is going to start in a while now. We believe that several top leaders of Bharatiya Janata Party, they will be arriving, like Shukanto Mojumdar, Shubhendu Adhikari and Dilip Ghosh. Now they are observing this day as protesting what exactly happening during the course of last 1 year, in which several BJP workers were allegedly killed allegedly by TMC goons, and many of their supporters have been absconding from their home, and they are not able to come back to the home because of the violence that has been continuing over the course of time of period. And we can see that several placard and posters have been demonstrated. As you can see, a BJP worker in his placard, which has been written that the only thing that they are protesting in a way what exactly happening during this time, because let me tell you that TMC and its government have been prepared to celebrate the first anniversary, but BJP have decided to stage protest march. Not only this, today only they're gonna to continue this kind of protest rallies or program in next 7 days in West Bengal, in many parts of city, of course. But it would be very interesting to see what exactly happened next, because we believe that Shukanto Mojumdar and Shubhendu Adhikari will be arriving soon, and this rally will be heading towards the city center from here, which is not barely 5 kilometers away from the starting point. But it would be interesting how they address this gathering, because a huge spectators have already gathered here. So this is what exactly happening today as per the Bengal politics is concerned, as the TMC is in one hand is celebrating its first anniversary, completing first year of Mamata government, and BJP, the opposition, are targeting the TMC-led government here. Back to you.
Be with us, Ritik. We'll just come back to you for more on that. In fact, we have some reactions that have been coming in. Let's go straight to them.
বছর পশ্চিমবাংলার রাজনৈতিক ইতিহাসে একটা কলঙ্কময় বছর, এবং যারা বলেছিলেন যে মানুষ আমাদের জিতিয়েছে, তারা আজকে মানুষকে এত কষ্ট দিচ্ছেন, মানুষ হাহাকার করছে। অতি সাধারণ মানুষ যারা, কেউ 500 টাকার জন্য, কেউ বলেছিল রেশন, কেউ বলছে অন্য কিছু ভাতা, দুয়ারে সরকার, এতে প্রলুব্ধ হয়ে ভোট দিয়েছিলেন তারা আজকে সবচেয়ে বেশি আক্রান্ত, অপমানিত, অত্যাচারিত হচ্ছেন। এক বছর যায়নি একটা মানে ফুল মেজরিটি সরকার কীভাবে ধীরে ধীরে মানুষ থেকে সরে যাচ্ছে আর মানুষ হাহাকার করছে, মুক্তি চাইছে, সেটা বোঝা গেল। সেই জন্য একটা বছর গণতন্ত্রের ইতিহাসে খুবই কলঙ্কময় বছর।
Big story we are breaking it this hour. Is Imran Khan to be arrested? Possibly Imran Khan, former Prime Minister of Pakistan, is likely to be arrested in a case relating to hooliganism and sloganeering against Prime Minister, the current Prime Minister, Shehbaz Sharif, and his delegation visiting Medina earlier this week. We're getting in some information about some trouble there brewing for former Prime Minister of Pakistan, Imran Khan, for sloganeering against Pakistan Prime Minister, the current Pakistan Prime Minister, Shehbaz Sharif. These are charges of hooliganism. Imran Khan had taken part in a protest, in fact was leading a protest against the current Prime Minister, Shehbaz Sharif, and his delegation visiting Medina earlier this week. What we're learning is that there could be some punitive action against Imran Khan, who could be arrested in connection with this entire matter. This is the information we're getting at this hour. Remember, this also comes at a time when Pakistan Minister Rana Sanaullah had vowed to arrest Imran Khan. This was the Interior Minister who had made this, who had in fact warned Imran Khan of an arrest in connection to hooliganism and sloganeering against Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif and his delegation visiting Medina earlier this week. There is a possibility that Imran Khan could face punitive action in this entire matter. Sanaullah had said, and I quote, "They will not be forgiven for all that they did. Imran Khan will be definitely arrested." This was the Interior Minister, or the Home Minister rather, of Pakistan who had spoken about it, saying that there is no justification for not filing a case against those who indulged in this sloganeering, referring to the FIR which has been registered against Imran Khan already and also against his supporters, about 150 of them, saying there was no justification to protect those who in fact had violated the sanctity of Roza-e-Rasool. Gaurav Sawant, our executive editor, is getting us more details in that big story, more trouble brewing, Gaurav, for Imran Khan, with the Interior Minister himself saying that no question of sparing them right now.
Oh, absolutely. So troubles for Imran Khan only set to mount because a series of cases are being registered against him and his supporters, and for multiple issues, and this could just be the most serious issue. So blasphemy is taken very seriously in Pakistan. Imran Khan incidentally had used blasphemy to go after his opponents. Now that there is a different government, they are using the same stick to beat him with. So this FIR is for Shehbaz Sharif's ministers, and when the government had gone to Medina, they were at the holy place. That is where a lot of sloganeering was done. Some women ministers were harassed, and this has been taken very, very seriously, and an FIR has been registered. Incidentally, Imran Khan's agitation and the agitation that he intends to carry out even within Pakistan. So some of his supporters had carried out this agitation and chanted slogans against the newly elected ministers when they'd gone to pray for a successful tenure, and of course subsequently came back with aid to run Pakistan from Saudi Arabia. They came back with about $8 billion worth of promises of aid. But coming back to Pakistan, Imran Khan's troubles are mounting because not only are there cases of blasphemy that are being registered against him, where he's likely to be arrested either before or after Eid. That is what is being said in the Pakistani circles, that his arrest could happen anytime. The second issue is theft of Pakistani resources, or thefts that have been carried out at the Tosha Khana, or gifts that were given to Imran Khan when he was Prime Minister of Pakistan. Some of these gifts were taken away by people who are considered very close to Imran Khan's wife, Pinky Pirni, and somebody considered very close to him or to her. They've sold off those gifts in markets. So that's another case that's been registered. Investigations are being carried on, and that is where Imran Khan's troubles are only set to mount in the days and weeks ahead.
Troubles are only set to mount, given that these protests were at a mosque, is what Pakistan has said even Saudi Arabia isn't really impressed with what has happened. And like Gaurav is saying, blasphemy is a very, very serious crime in Pakistan. Gaurav, thanking you for the moment. We'll come back to you for more details on that as trouble mounts for former Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan. News back home, a CCTV footage of Vignesh, who allegedly died in police custody, has now surfaced in the video. Two cops can be seen chasing Vignesh. Vignesh then falls, is beaten, held by the collar and taken away by the police. Remember, this incident took place on the 19th of April after being arrested by police along with his friend Suresh. The custodial death of Vignesh has become a big issue in the state of Tamil Nadu. Vignesh's brother Vinod had also alleged that police tried to give him ₹1 lakh to hush the case. Prabhu, an eyewitness, had earlier claimed that police had stopped and checked Vignesh and Suresh using Face Tag app, which showed that Suresh had several cases pending against him. Prabhu claimed that when police questioned Vignesh, he handed over a knife he had. He told cops the knife was to cut grass with a horse he used to give rides along the Marina Beach. The eyewitness says that cops allegedly hit Vignesh very badly. Meanwhile, police has said that Vignesh and Suresh caused ruckus and that Vignesh used the knife to attack the cops, after which he was arrested. These are claims and counterclaims that have been doing the rounds when it comes to this particular death that is being looked at very closely.
நான் வந்து சவாரி இவங்க யாருன்னே தெரியாது. நான் வேற சவாரி போய் ரிட்டர்ன் வந்திருக்கேன் சார். அப்படின்னா பக்கத்துலேயே இவனை என்ன பண்ணிட்டாங்க, இவன் ஒரு கத்தி வச்சிருந்தான். அந்த கத்தி எடுத்து டேபிளில் வச்சுட்டான், அந்த ஜிப்சி மேலே வச்ச உடனே இது எதுக்குலான்னாங்க. நான் குதிரையை ஓட்டுறவன், குதிரையில் ஆடுறதுக்கு இதை கட் பண்ணணும் அப்படின்னு வச்சிருந்தேன் அப்படின்னா. அதுக்கப்புறம் அவனை அடிக்க ஆரம்பிச்சாங்க. இன்னொரு போலீஸ்கார் வந்தார், அவனை சர மாதிரியே அடித்தார். அன்றைக்கி நைட்டு 2:50க்கு ஸ்டேஷன் கூப்பிட்டு போகிறாங்க. ஸ்டேஷன் கூப்பிட்டு போயிட்டு 3:15 தான் என்னை கீழே இறக்குறாங்க. அவங்க 2 பேரும் லாக்கப்பில் போட்டாங்க.
நான் வீட்டில் குளிச்சுட்டு இருந்தேன் மேடம். குளிச்சுட்டு இருக்கும்போது எங்களை வந்து முதல்ல கதவு தட்டினாங்க. நான் குளிச்சுட்டு வரேன்னும் போது டேய் வெளியே வாடா அப்படின்னு சொல்லி அந்த மேடம் மிரட்டி எங்களை இட்டு போனாங்க. இட்டுன்னு போய் என்ன மேடம் நான் தவறு பண்ணேன்னு கேட்டதுக்கு ஒரு சின்ன விசாரணை தானே ஒன்றும் இல்லைடா சொல்லி இட்டு போனாங்க. இட்டுன்னு போயிட்டு அங்கே இன்னொரு தம்பி எங்கே காட்டுன்னு சொன்னாங்க. தேடி பார்த்தாங்க, அந்த இன்னொரு தம்பி இல்லை. நேராக என்ன பண்ணாங்க, பட்டினிப்பாங்க ஸ்டேஷனுக்கு இட்டுன்னு போனாங்க. ரஞ்சித்ன்றவர் என் தம்பி வேலை பார்க்குறாருல, குதிரை வேலை, அவர் வந்து இன்ஸ்பெக்டர் ஃபோன் பண்ணி ரஞ்சித்துக்கு ஃபோன் பண்ணி இந்தமாரி சொல்லு, இந்த இன்ஸ்பெக்டர் மோகன் அவர் வந்து சொல்லினாரு. அவர் ஃபோனில் தான் பண்ணி இந்தமாரி வந்து சொல்லு அப்படின்னு சொல்லவோ அவர் வந்து சொல்கிறாரு என்கிட்ட, ஆனது ஆகிப்போச்சுடா, அவன் தம்பி இந்தமாரி இறந்துட்டான், நான் வந்து அதை சாவி எடுக்கிறதுக்கு அடக்கம் பண்ணுறதுக்கு ஒரு நான் ஒரு பைசா நான் அமௌண்ட்டு கொடுக்க சொல்கிறேன் அப்படின்னு நினச்சி நான் அந்த காசு ஓகே அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு வாங்கினேன். 20,000 ரூபாய் கேட்டேன் மேடம் என் தம்பி அடக்கம் பண்ணுறதுக்கு.
All these actions are under a platform that evolved called the Joint Action Against Custodial Torture in Tamil Nadu, which evolved as a result of Satyangulam. And I am forced to say that the DMK was also party to that platform. So we are not here fighting against somebody who's an enemy. We are appealing to a government who at one point in time was part of our joint platform. Having said this, the discrepancies that you are asking, on the 18th, what has been narrated is blatant, brutal torture with evidence.
Go straight across to BJP leader Narayan Tirupati for his perspective on what has happened. Mr. Tirupati, the police essentially has refused to even react to the CCTV footage that clearly shows that the victim here was chased, was beaten up badly by the police. It is being alleged that this is a case of custodial death, custodial murder is what the family says. What do you have to say about these developments that we've seen over the last few days?
See, we have already condemned the brutal death and definitely under the police custody. And we are asked for a CBI inquiry, whereas the government had given a CBCD inquiry. But as far as this video is concerned, I don't know, is there any link between that and this video? Because normally when accused escapes from the police hands, obviously the police will chase them and they will catch them. I think that is the video what we have seen today, we are seeing today. But we need definitely a straightforward inquiry, a CBCID, we hope that they will do it. But we had asked for a CBI inquiry. That should be fair.
The allegations were serious, but what the family is also saying, Narayan Tirupati, is that this was a case of custodial murder essentially. Even if the victim here was in possession of drugs, like is being alleged, then there should have been a proper investigation that should have been carried out, is what the family is saying.
Yes, definitely. That is what we have said. The police has got no right to, torture any accused in the police station. So we have asked for a very detailed investigation and inquiry. And the CBCID, we hope that they will do it. But in the meantime, this particular video, I think it is seen that the accused was trying to escape and police were trying to catch him. So it is normal for any policeman to do that. So I think in the interrogations, all this will reveal.
All right, Narayan Tirupati, I'm thanking you for the moment. The police, of course, has not yet responded to the video that has been doing the rounds. The family, of course, says that this is a case of custodial murder. Pramod is getting us the very latest on that. Pramod, what has the police said, or what are your sources at least indicating, given that there's been no official reaction on the video in which they can be seen chasing Vignesh? The family members have been talking about it for a while now, and even if there was wrongdoing on the part of the victim there, this is a clear case of custodial death, a custodial murder.
Absolutely. This is a case of complete violation of human rights because on one end, this is turning into a kind of headache for the Chennai police actually, because just like you mentioned, this is an alleged custodial death and the video also of the death 19th, early hours of 19th on the same day Vignesh actually died. And this is from the location called as Kelly's Junction, where Vignesh and Suresh were stopped by the policemen earlier. Now, the eyewitness count claims that they were actually traveling to a hospital because Suresh had an injury in his leg and he was going to be treated. But police stopped him. Suresh, being a repeated offender, in the Face Tag app. It's an app that's been used by Tamil Nadu government where using a picture, it will give the details about any kind of criminal records you have. In that app, Suresh apparently had 11 records, and that's when the police turned out to be extremely hostile. And as per the witness account, Vignesh and Suresh were badly beaten. Now, this video actually shows Vignesh trying to run away from the police, and this is where he's being chased. At one point, he falls down. We're not sure if he was kicked or not, but he falls down and rolls, and then a cop actually grabs him by the collar, and he actually hits him also. That's also recorded in the video. And for now, in this case, just like Narayan said, it has been transferred to the CBCID. Sub-inspector, a constable and a home guard had been suspended, but the family claims that there is more into this case and they are demanding justice.
All right, Pramod. Thanking you for the moment, Pramod Madhav, with that detailed ground report. Well, there's a big face-off brewing at the Osmania University in Hyderabad. This after the Congress claimed that the university denied permission to Rahul Gandhi, Wayanad MP, for an interaction with students. Youth Congress held a protest against the university vice-chancellor. 18 NSUI workers have been arrested for the protest. Stones were pelted during the agitation. Congress claims that university vice-chancellors blocked Rahul Gandhi under pressure from the KCR government. College authorities, however, say that no permission was denied to Rahul Gandhi, but there are no political meetings that are allowed on the campus, and in line with this, Rahul Gandhi was disallowed.
मैं ये पूछना चाह रहा हूँ, वो पाकिस्तान नहीं है या और कहीं छीने का बॉर्डर नहीं है और प्रोहिबिटेड एरिया भी नहीं है, जहाँ पर स्टूडेंट्स पढ़ते हैं, एक मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट को वहाँ पर जाकर वहाँ पर देखने के लिए अगर मना किए तो इसको कौन सी तरीका से देखना है? इसका मतलब स्टूडेंट से अगर कांग्रेस पार्टी के नेता अगर इंटरेक्ट हुए तो केसीआर के जितने भी गलत काम है और नोटिफिकेशंस भी नहीं दिया हुआ है, एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट्स भी पूरा खत्म कर चुका है, सब सारे चर्चा आएगा तब केसीआर को दिक्कत होगा। इसीलिए चीफ मिनिस्टर यूनिवर्सिटी वाइस चांसलर के ऊपर दबाव डाल के हमारा परमिशन को रिजेक्ट करवाया।
बीजेपी स्ट्रांगली कंडेम्स द anarchist politics of Congress party. Rahul Gandhi wanting to go to Osmania University is the biggest joke of his trip. He has been given permission to conduct a public rally in Warangal. He should be doing just that. And when the permission is not being granted, they want to anyway go there and disrupt the academic activity. So what kind of politics is this? What kind of a futuristic vision which Rahul Gandhi keeps talking about is this?
Hindutva war between Shiv Sena and BJP has grown louder. On Sunday, Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray launched a stinging attack on the BJP, claiming that the party duped his father, Balasaheb Thackeray, because he was gullible. Thackeray went on to say that he has been behaving shrewdly with the BJP because it can't ignore the games the party plays in the name of Hindutva. This after BJP's Devendra Fadnavis on Sunday launched a scathing attack on the Chief Minister and Shiv Sena President Uddhav Thackeray, saying that he was not a true adherent of Hindutva. Fadnavis accused Sena of skipping Babri demolition and now sitting in lap of anti-Hindu forces. Maharashtra Chief Minister also attacked the MNS chief, Raj Thackeray, calling him a mere player who sometimes plays the game of Marathi, sometimes of Hindutva. All this in the backdrop of MNS chief Raj Thackeray's 4th of May ultimatum to the Maha Vikas Aghadi government to remove loudspeakers from mosques, saying there's going to be consequences from the 4th of May onwards if this is not done.
माझ्यावर त्या आरोप केला की ती शिवसेना बाळासाहेबांची शिवसेना नाही. म्हटलं बरोबर आहे, बाळासाहेब भोळे होते आणि बाळासाहेबांना तुम्ही त्यावेळेला कसे वेळोवेळी फसवत गेला तुम्ही माझ्या डोळ्याने बघितले, म्हणून मी थोडासा नाही म्हटलं तरी धूर्तपणाने तुमच्याशी वागतोय. मी नाही भोळा. माझे वडील भोळे होते, ते हिंदुत्वासाठी, म्हणजे हिंदुत्व हे माझे रक्तात त्यांनीच भिनवलेले आहे. पण हिंदुत्वाच्या आडून तुम्ही जे तुमचे डाव सरत होता त्याच्याकडे ते कानाडोळा करत होते, मी नाही करणार.
तो ढाचा पाडण्याचं काम अभिमानानं सांगतो आम्ही केलं. अरे तुम्ही विचारता, माझा तुम्हाला सवाल आहे, तुम्ही सांगा तो ढाचा पडला त्यावेळी तुम्ही कुठे होतात? मी या ठिकाणी अभिमानानं सांगतो, होय मी तो ढाचा पाडण्याकरता त्याच ठिकाणी होतो.
ये दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण बात है कि आज उनके विषय में ऐसी भाषा उन्हीं के सुपुत्र बोल रहे हैं, क्योंकि उन्हें जो समझौता उन्होंने अपने सिद्धांतों से किया है सत्ता के लिए, उसे जायज़ ठहराना है. स्वर्गीय बालासाहेब ठाकरे कांग्रेस और एनसीपी के साथ किसी भी प्रकार के गठबंधन से सख्त खिलाफ थे और उन्होंने ये बार बार कहा था. तो आज सवाल तो ये पैदा होता है उद्धव जी कि बालासाहेब ठाकरे जी को हिंदुत्व के विषय पर किसने ठगा? जो हिंदुत्व के शेर हुआ करते थे, आज वो ऐसी पार्टी के साथ गठबंधन में है जो हिंदुत्व को आईसिस और बोको हराम की तरह तुलना करती है.
ये खुली धमकी और किसी के धार्मिक मामलों में इस तरह से हस्तक्षेप करना तो एक किस्म से अपराध है, अपराध की श्रेणी में आएगा. और मैं समझता हूँ कि महाराष्ट्र सरकार वो सक्षम है, वो उनकी जो व्यवस्था है वो चुस्त दुरुस्त है. और अगर कोई नियम विरुद्ध, कानून विरुद्ध कोई कार्रवाई होगी, कोई काम करेगा तो उनके खिलाफ कार्रवाई की जाएगी और उसमें राज ठाकरे कोई अपवाद नहीं है.
Staying with us as Raj Thakere's day after MNS Eid loudspeaker deadline comes closer, Shiv Sena hints it's going to be blinking in the loudspeaker dangle. Mumbai Mayor Kishori Pednekar has said no one, including Muslims, opposed Hanuman Chalisa and loudspeakers will be removed from temples and mosques. Sena has also appealed all to maintain peace. In Maharashtra, Sena said if Raj Thackeray said anything objectionable in his speech, then action is going to be taken against him. Raj Thackeray launched a scathing attack on the Maha Vikas Aghadi government on Sunday. Thackeray reiterated his ultimatum to the Uddhav Thackeray government to remove loudspeakers from mosques by the 4th of May, a day after Eid.
सर्व देशवासियांना, माझी सर्व हिंदू बांधवांना, भगिनींना माझी विनंती आहे, जर हे 3 तारखेपर्यंत ऐकले नाही, 4 तारखेला हनुमान चालीसा प्रत्येक ठिकाणी मला ऐकू आलंच पाहिजे. पोलिसांकडनं वाटल्यास रीतसर परवानगी घ्या, लाऊडस्पीकरची परवानगी घ्या, त्यांना द्यावीच लागते.
ढोंगे डबल टेबल लावा, कायदा आहे, पोलीस आहे, साऊंड सिस्टमचा एक रेकॉर्ड आहे, त्याच्या बाहेर गेले लावणारे जातील, बघतील. त्यामुळे लावणाऱ्यांनी पण विचार करा, आपली उभी जिंदगी आपण कोर्टाच्या खेटा घालवण्यामध्ये घालवणार आहात का?
The high decibel Azan versus Hanuman Chalisa on the loudspeaker debate is blaring out loud. On Sunday, Aurangabad's Marathwada Sanskritik Maidan turned saffron
to hold the Maharashtra Navnirman Sena Chief Raj Thakre's mega public rally. Speaking to a packed venue, MNS chief served this ultimatum to Uddhav Thackeray government.
सर्व देशवासियांना, माझी सर्व हिंदू बांधवांना, भगिनींना माझी विनंती आहे, जर हे 3 तारखेपर्यंत ऐकले नाही, 4 तारखेला हनुमान चालीसा प्रत्येक ठिकाणी मला ऐकू आलंच पाहिजे.
Thackeray also did not spare the NCP chief Sharad Pawar, accusing him of dividing Hindus through casteism.
हे जातीपातीच्या विषापासून तुम्ही सगळ्यांनी दूर राहणं गरजेचं आहे. या पवार साहेबांना हिंदू या शब्दाचीच मुळात ॲलर्जी आहे. हे जे विष या माणसाने जे कालवलं ना, मी जे सतत सांगतोय की राष्ट्रवादीचा जन्म झाल्यानंतर महाराष्ट्रामध्ये जातीपातीचं राजकारण मोठ्या प्रमाणावरती सुरू झालं. जात प्रत्येक जण मानत होता, जात प्रत्येकाला प्रिय होती, पण दुसऱ्या जातीबद्दलचा द्वेष हा राष्ट्रवादी काँग्रेसच्या जन्मानंतर सुरू झाला.
The rally comes in the backdrop of the ultimatum given by Raj Thackeray to Uddhav Sarkar.
तुम्हाला जो काही नमाज पडायचा आहे, तुम्हाला जी काय अजान द्यायची आहे, घरामध्ये द्या. आणि जर सांगून जर समजा तुम्हाला समजत नसेल की हे भोंगे खाली उतरवा, तुम्ही आम्हाला विनाकारण त्रास देऊ नका, हे जर नीट सांगून समजत नसेल तर तुमच्या मशिदीच्या बाहेर आम्ही हनुमान चालीसा लावणार म्हणजे लावणार.
MNS chief, who had praised the Yogi model of muting the loudspeakers in Uttar Pradesh, had taken a bhogi jibe at his cousin brother Uddhav Thackeray and met BJP leader and former Jammu and Kashmir Deputy Chief Minister Kavinder Gupta, only to praise Modi government's tough anti-terror fight.
जहां तक मेरा विचार है कि राष्ट्र विरोधी ताकतों को खत्म करने के लिए राष्ट्रभक्त लोगों को इकट्ठा होना पड़ेगा. देखिए, सरकार जिस प्रकार से चल रही है महाराष्ट्र में, जिस प्रकार से गुंडाराज, जिस प्रकार से अपनी विचारधारा बदल करके ये सरकार चला रहे हैं और मजबूरी की सरकार चला रहे हैं, उस सभी में लोगों ने जिस प्रकार से सहा है सरकार को, चेंज होना स्वाभाविक बात है.
The BJP also kept the heat on Uddhav government.
आम्ही हनुमान चालीसा म्हटल्यानंतर त्यांच्यावर राजद्रोहाचा गुन्हा लागला. आणि मजेची गोष्ट बघा, काल परवा आरोपपत्र दाखल केलं. त्या आरोपपत्रात काय लिहिलंय तर यांनी मुख्यमंत्र्यांच्या घरासमोर हनुमान चालीसा म्हणण्याची घोषणा केल्यामुळे ते राज्य उलथवून टाकत होते, म्हणून आम्ही त्यांना जेलमध्ये टाकलं.
The Shiv Sena, however, mocked Raj Thackeray, repeating charges of his BJP links.
MNS, a party which is already on saline, now it is getting booster doses from the BJP. Now the crowds are easily being purchased. People are being brought. I heard that BJP has given him 10 crores for just collecting people.
It has been an all-out war to prove who is the real Hindu Hriday Samrat in Maharashtra.
शिवसेना प्रमुखांचं हिंदुत्व हेच आहे. त्यांनी सांगितलं होतं की मला देवळात घंटा बडवणारा हिंदू नको आहे, मला अतिरेक्यांना बडवणारा हिंदू पाहिजे. हे कुठले आले घंटाधारी हिंदुत्ववादी? घंटाधारी हिंदुत्ववाद्यांनी आम्हाला गदाधारी हिंदुत्ववाद्यांनी हिंदुत्व शिकण्याच्या भानगडीत पडू नये. आमचं हिंदुत्व हे गदाधारी हिंदुत्व आहे.
की काही लोकांना हिंदू असण्याची लाज वाटते. आणि आता तर नवीन हिंदुत्व आलंय, घंटाधारी आणि गदाधारी. घंटाधारी आणि गदाधारी. मी असं म्हटलं की घंटाधारी गदाधारी, ते म्हणाले आम्ही गदाधारी आहोत. मी त्यांना म्हटलं तुम्ही गदाधारी आहात की नाही माहित नाही, पण रोज सकाळी टीव्ही पाहिल्यावर तुम्ही गदाधारी नक्कीच आहात, हे आमच्या लक्षात येतं.
As the loudspeaker debate continues, the question remains, is Raj Thackeray eyeing Shiv Sena's strident Hindutva space? With Pankaj Upadhyay and Pankaj Khelkar in Aurangabad, Bureau Report, India Today.
The bail plea order of the Rana couple is likely to come out today at 4:30 p.m. The police have booked Navneet and her husband Ravi Rana for sedition and promoting enmity between different groups. Navneet is lodged in Baikula prison. Ravi Rana is in Taloja jail. On Saturday, the lawyers for Ranas argued for bail, claiming there was no offence of sedition. Advocate Abad Ponda, in fact, said that only having an intent to commit a crime can't be punished. Executing some intent and actually committing an offence can be punished. Meanwhile, the public prosecutor has argued that comments made by the Ranas threaten law and order situation of the state of Maharashtra. In other news today, controversial seer Yati Nara Singhanand has once again stoked a fresh controversy. Speaking at the Sanatan Sant Sabha in UP's Aligarh, the seer has urged Hindus to produce more children to prevent the country from becoming Hindu-less in the coming decades. He went on to say that Hindu populations in the country is decreasing and many are trying to destroy Sanatan Dharma by opposing it. He's also urged Hindus as well as the future generations to safeguard their religion. This isn't the first time that the seer is making headlines. He was arrested and later released on bail after he allegedly organized a Dharm Sansad in Haridwar in December last year, where provocative speeches are made against Muslims.
हमारी चिंता है हिंदुओं की घटती हुई जनसंख्या का अनुपात। अगर इसी तरह से हिंदुओं की जनसंख्या का अनुपात घटता रहा तो आपको यहाँ कोई हिंदू का मंदिर मिलेगा ही नहीं। हमने अपने लोगों से कहा है कि वो ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा बच्चे पैदा करें और अपने बच्चों को अपने परिवार की अपनी रक्षा करने में सक्षम बनाएं। सनातन धर्म धरती से कभी भी खत्म ना हो और जो सनातन धर्म को समाप्त करना चाहते हैं उनके बारे में हमारे लोग समझे बातों को और अपने आप को बचाएं, अपने अस्तित्व को बचाएं।
Not the first time that the controversial seer has been caught making these statements or trying to incite hate. The seer has often made headlines for anti-Muslim rhetoric. Here's what he said in the past.
लड़ाई में जीतता वो है जिसके हथियार शत्रु से ज्यादा ताकतवर होते हैं। झूठी बातों में बच्चों फंस मत जाना। ज्यादा से ज्यादा बच्चे और अच्छे से अच्छे हथियार यही तुम्हें बचाने वाले हैं।
मेरा हिंदुओं के लिए केवल इतना संदेश है कि हिंदू अपने परिवारों को मजबूत करें और परिवार जो है पैसों से मजबूत नहीं होते। परिवार मजबूत होते हैं जब उसमें बच्चे होते हैं, जब रिश्ते होते हैं, रिश्तों में प्यार होता है और साथ ही साथ बच्चे ज्यादा पैदा करें। हिंदू बच्चे पैदा करके अपने बच्चों को इस लायक बनाए कि हिंदुओं के बच्चे अपने घर की रक्षा करें, अपने परिवार की रक्षा करें, अपनी बहन बेटियों की रक्षा करें। हमारी चिंता है हिंदुओं की घटती हुई जनसंख्या का अनुपात। अगर इसी तरह से हिंदुओं की जनसंख्या का अनुपात घटता रहा तो आपको यहाँ कोई हिंदू का मंदिर मिलेगा ही नहीं। हमने अपने लोगों से कहा है कि वो ज्यादा से ज्यादा बच्चे पैदा करें और अपने बच्चों को अपने परिवार की अपनी रक्षा करने में सक्षम बनाएं। सनातन धर्म धरती से कभी भी खत्म ना हो और जो सनातन धर्म को समाप्त करना चाहते हैं उनके बारे में हमारे लोग समझे बातों को और अपने आप को बचाएं, अपने अस्तित्व को बचाएं।
It's time for a break. Here on the other side, Center slams Delhi government for spreading panic over power crisis. We're telling you more about that on the other side.
You are watching India Today.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com or call 9999892171.
watching India Today. You are watching India Today.
Amid rising power crisis in the country, Home Minister Amit Shah chaired a key meeting at his residence with Power Minister R.K. Singh. Coal Minister Prahlad Joshi was also there. Power cut tussle between the centre and Delhi government continues to grow. In reply to Delhi Power Minister's letter expressing concerns about coal stock position, Power Minister R.K. Singh refuted the claims, saying the figure in Delhi Minister's letter were incorrect, saying that power stations have sufficient reserve coal stock for almost 8 days. Union Minister has accused the Delhi government of using incorrect figures, and he cited an example from October 2021 to prove his point. Time for a break. Here on the other side, Prime Minister Modi's big splash in Bot on Europe arrives in Berlin as part of his 3-day, 3-nation tour. Getting you all the details in just 2 minutes.
You are watching India Today.
एक टाइम पे एक चीज लोग नोटिस करते हैं, नोटिस कर रहे हैं, अप्रिशिएट कर रहे हैं, अच्छी बात है, इसमें प्रॉब्लम क्या है? Good content is traveling. Last 2.5 years on OTT, we all sat at home, and when you ran out of content that you thought you'd like, you started experimenting with content, and then you realized, oh, there's more stuff that I like, and it's opening up the horizons, it's widening. That's art, dude. It can break mindsets because it's talking about life and it's representing humanity, and we all share that. During COVID, we never realized. We all keep saying, "मैं ये हूँ, मैं वो हूँ, मैं अलग हूँ, वो अलग है." We all breathe the same air, right? What comes out of you goes inside me. What comes out of me goes inside her, and we all share the same air. So we are meant to coexist, right? I think we all have issues in our head, not wanting to accept and acknowledge that we are meant to coexist, and art is meant to, do that and remind us of the fact that we're all the same.
When it's the world's biggest news story, there's only one gold standard of journalism.
You are watching India Today.
Prime Minister Modi's whirlwind Europe trip comes amid the raging war in Ukraine, which has now entered this 3rd straight month. Modi has a packed itinerary during the 65-hour trip with as many as 25 meetings with 8 world leaders. And much of the hard work is going to go towards finding a way to deal with the Ukraine war and the Russian attack. European powers firmly believe that India, with its steadfast neutral stand on Ukraine, is in a position to influence Moscow. India has withstood pressure from anti-Russian axis, continuing its meager oil imports from Russia, which is much less than what the West imports. India has also sought an end to the war while stopping short of actually heading out at Russia.
साफ तौर पर क्योंकि बेहद ही महत्वपूर्ण क्षण आप इन तस्वीरों के जरिए देख सकते हैं.
Prime Minister Modi arrives in Berlin on the first leg of his 3-nation Europe trip, during which he is going to be holding detailed bilateral discussions with German Chancellor and co-chair the India-Germany Intergovernmental Consultation. From Berlin, the Prime Minister is going to be traveling to Copenhagen. It's going to happen tomorrow, where he is going to be having a meeting, a bilateral one with Prime Minister of Denmark, during which the two leaders would review the progress in India's unique green strategic partnership with Denmark. On the 4th of May, the day after, the Prime Minister is going to have a brief stopover in Paris, where he is going to be holding talks with the newly re-elected French President. Prime Minister's three-nation tour comes amid Russia's relentless assault on Ukraine. Prime Minister Modi, who arrived in Germany on the first leg of his three-day Europe visit, got a rousing welcome from the Indian diaspora in Berlin. The Prime Minister's visit started with meeting Indian diaspora amid chants of Modi and Vande Mataram with high enthusiasm. The Prime Minister's interaction began with signing autographs, affectionate pats, obliging young fans. Many children, along with their parents, were present at the hotel, waving their hands at the Prime Minister. He also interacted with a little girl who presented him with a portrait of his picture.
व्यापारिक सम्मेलन को भी संयुक्त रूप से आपको बता दें कि रखा जाएगा, और व्यापारिक सम्मेलन को जिस तरह से दोनों ही आपको बता दें कि जैसे प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी भी संबोधित करेंगे और उसके बाद जर्मन चांसलर
News just coming in. AIMIM Chief of Southern Owaisi has slammed the Maharashtra government over Raj Thakre's rally in Aurangabad. Owaisi has called Raj Thakre's speech an open call for violence. Owaisi has also questioned NCP's silence over the matter. My colleague Sahil Joshi is right now with the Hyderabad MP. Let's go straight to Sahil.
बात है तो अभी लाउड स्पीकर अब क्यों याद आया तुमको? क्या सरकार को नहीं मालूम कौन सा लाउड स्पीकर परमिशन चल रहा है, नहीं चल रहा है? सब बकवास कर रहे हैं। देखिए, एक बात समझिए, जो पूरे देश में मुसलमानों के खिलाफ बीजेपी संघ परिवार ने जो ऐलान जंग कर चुकी है, जो नफरत का तूफान फैला चुकी है, जहर फैला चुकी है, उसी का हिस्सा है ये, उसी का हिस्सा, और कुछ भी नहीं है इसमें।
नहीं तो आपको क्या लगता है कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट के आदेश का पालन करना चाहिए कि नहीं करना चाहिए? वो जो लाउड स्पीकर के बारे में या ऑडियो लेवल्स को लेकर हो या ध्वनि प्रदूषण को लेकर हो, उसके वजह से कानून सुव्यवस्था की स्थिति पैदा ना हो, इसकी जिम्मेदारी दोनों की है। दोनों तरफ से अगर पहल हो तो ये मामला नहीं रहेगा। महाराष्ट्र सरकार कह रही कि हमारा तो सैंडविच हो रहा है बीच में।
मेरा मानना यह है कि मेरी मस्जिद से जब अज़ान होती है वो किसी समुदाय के खिलाफ अज़ान नहीं होती, नंबर 1। और दूसरी बात यह है कि मेरी अज़ान देना मेरा रिलीजन का हिस्सा है, मैं अज़ान देता हूं। तीसरी बात यह है कि क्या मैं किसी के घर के सामने या किसी के इबादत गाह के सामने लाउड स्पीकर लगा के अज़ान दे रहा हूं, या मैं कह रहा हूं लगाओ? और अब क्यों उठ रहा है मुद्दा? ये मुद्दा इस वक्त इसलिए उठ रहा है क्योंकि भारत में जो नौजवान बेरोजगार उसका मुकद्दर बन चुका, पेट्रोल डीजल की कीमतें आसमानों को छू चुकी है, मोदी कोयला नहीं पहुंचा सक रहे हैं स्टेट्स को, और लोड शेडिंग हो रहा है, तो इसीलिए ये मसले को उठा दिया गया है। और कन्वीनियंटली पूरा कंपटीशन हो रहा है, राष्ट्रवादी हो, कांग्रेस हो, शिवसेना हो, और दिल्ली का मुख्यमंत्री हो, समाजवादी पार्टियों के सबसे बड़ा हिंदू हिजड़े सम्राट लीडर कौन है, सबसे बड़ा हिंदुत्व की आइडियोलॉजी पर कौन चलेगा, ये कंपटीशन हो रहा है। और इसी कंपटीशन में आप देख रहे हैं कि जब मुसलमानों के खिलाफ कोई बात की जाती है, मुसलमानों को बेइज्जत किया जाता है, मस्जिदों के सामने तलवारें लहराई जाती हैं, तो सबके सब गूंगे बन जाते हैं। यही कंपटीशन हो रहा है आज।
लेकिन मुद्दा यह भी उठता है कि जो आप सही कह रहे हैं कि अजान देना आपका धार्मिक अधिकार है, लेकिन उसके लिए लाउड स्पीकर इस्तेमाल करना आपका अधिकार है कि नहीं, इस पर सवाल उठा रहे हैं। वो कह रहे हैं कि जब हम लोग लाउड स्पीकर लगाते हैं तो सरकार उस पर कार्रवाई कर लेती है। हम पर एक नियम लगा दिया जाता है कि 10 बजे के बाद लाउड स्पीकर आप नहीं चला सकते, कि कुछ दिनों तक 12 बजे के बाद नहीं चला सकते, कि कोई त्योहार है तो हम समझ सकते हैं। मैं आपको सिर्फ कोट कर रहा हूं जो राज ठाकरे कह रहे हैं, लेकिन 365 दिन हर रोज 5 बार इस तरीके से लाउड स्पीकर से नमाज पढ़ना या अजान करना, यह बात कहीं ना कहीं ध्वनि प्रदूषण पैदा करती है, और जो हमें मंजूर नहीं है। अगर उनको मंजूर है तो हमें भी उसकी इजाजत देनी चाहिए, इस तरीके की बात वो रख रहे हैं।
अरे भाई, आपको अगर पुकारना है तो पुकार लो ना, आपको कौन रोक रहा है? आप लगाओ अपना लाउड स्पीकर लगा के जो पुकारना है, तो तुम पुकार कर गए ना तुम। कल तो तुम पूरा औरंगाबाद के पूरे महाराष्ट्र के एटमॉस्फेयर को पोल्यूट करने की कोशिश की तुमने, कम्युनल पोल्यूशन तुमने पैदा कर दिया। उसके ऊपर क्या करेंगे? और मैं तो आपको एक हिंदू अखबार की रिपोर्ट का हवाला दे रहा हूं कि महाराष्ट्र के किसी एक गांव में वहां के मंदिर और मस्जिद के लोगों ने कहा कि हम नहीं हटाएंगे, हमको कोई आपत्ति नहीं है, ना मस्जिद की अजान से है, और मुसलमानों ने कहा कि मंदिर से जो आवाज आती है हमको कोई उससे आपत्ति नहीं है। ये मुल्क का भाईचारगी है, ये एक मल्टी कल्चरल मल्टी रिलीजियस कंट्री है। बीजेपी और मुसलमानों से और इस प्लुरलिज्म से नफरत करने वाले ये चाहते हैं कि इस देश की कल्चरलिज्म को, प्लुरलिज्म को हमेशा के लिए निस्तो नाबूद करके रख दिया जाए। वो भारत के लिए बड़ा ही काला दिन होगा जिस दिन अगर ऐसा होगा तो।
असद भाई, लेकिन मैंने आपकी प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस सुनी जब आप औरंगाबाद गए थे इफ्तार के लिए। आपने उसमें यह कहा कि अगर मुस्लिम युवा इसके वजह से रेडिकलाइज होते हैं तो उसमें देश का नुकसान होगा। क्या ये दूसरे तरीके से धमकी? एक तरफ राज ठाकरे धमकी देते हैं कि नहीं हटेंगे तो हम देख लेंगे और एक बार हो जाने दीजिए, दूसरी तरफ आप कह रहे हैं कि ऐसा करेंगे तो रेडिकलाइज हो जाएंगे और उसके लिए देश का नुकसान हो जाएगा। क्या ये धमकी वॉर होगा महाराष्ट्र में आप इसके बाद, या कहीं ना कहीं सुलह सफाई के जिस तरीके से आपने गांव का एग्जाम्पल दिया, नांदेड़ में वो गांव है जिसका रिपोर्ट भी हमने किया हुआ है, क्या उस तरीके से एक साथ बैठकर एक साथ बात करके इस मामले को सुलझाया जाएगा?
मैं आपने जो बात कही बिल्कुल गलत कही, आपको करेक्ट करना चाहिए जी। मैंने प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस में जनाब श्याम शरण साहब के उस आर्टिकल का हवाला दिया जो हमारे देश के फॉरेन सेक्रेटरी और एनएसए लेवल पर रह चुके हैं, जिनके पास देश के बहुत बड़े सीक्रेट्स हैं, जिन्होंने इस देश के लिए बड़ी खिदमत की। उस श्याम शरण साहब ने अपने आर्टिकल में कहा कि अगर भारत के 14-15 करोड़ मुसलमानों में मुट्ठी भर लोग अगर रेडिकलाइज हो जाएंगे तो सिक्योरिटी का प्रॉब्लम होगा। ये असदुद्दीन ओवैसी ने नहीं कहा, ये उस शख्स ने कहा जिसने भारत की अपनी जिंदगी भर खिदमत की, उसको भारत की एक एक चीज मालूम, उसको भारत के अतराफ में जो पॉलिटिक्स हो रही है, जियो पोलिटिकल सिचुएशन से मुझसे और आपसे ज्यादा काबिल आदमी है। जब वो शख्स लिखता है तो जो लोग आज मुसलमानों के खिलाफ नफरत पैदा कर रहे हैं उनको जनाब श्याम शरण साहब के आर्टिकल को पढ़कर होश के नाखून लेने चाहिए। मैंने ये कहा, मैंने ये नहीं कहा था, ये खामखा आप मुझ पर ये इल्जाम लगा रहे हैं जो गलत है। प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस में मैंने जनाब श्याम शरण साहब का हवाला दिया था उस आर्टिकल का, जो आज भी अवेलेबल है नेट के ऊपर।
तो आप कह रहे हैं कि ये आपने कोट किया उनको, और ये कहते हुए कोट किया कि अगर ऐसा होता है तो देश के लिए मुश्किल हो सकती है, ये बात कहना तो ठीक रहेगा?
श्याम शरण साहब का आर्टिकल क्या मैंने कोट अनकोट उसको पढ़कर सुनाया? मैंने अपने जहन से कोई बात नहीं कही, मेरा ओपिनियन नहीं था। मैंने जनाब श्याम शरण साहब के उस आर्टिकल का हवाला दिया ताकि जो लोग सत्ता में हैं, जो लोग मुसलमानों के खिलाफ नफरत का बीज बो रहे हैं और अपनी सियासी रोटी सेकना चाहते हैं गरीबों की लाशों के ऊपर, उनकी मस्जिदों को नुकसान पहुंचाकर, उनको मैं बता रहा हूं कि पढ़ो श्याम शरण साहब को, जिसने देश की बड़ी बड़ी खिदमत की और आज भी देशभक्त है। उनसे सीखो, समझो उस चीज को, तुम लोग क्या करने जा रहे हो।
आज की तारीख में महाराष्ट्र सरकार कह रही है कि हम किसी को कानून हाथ में नहीं लेने देंगे। क्या आपकी पार्टी अब सरकार से यह उम्मीद लगाती है कि क्या इस पर कार्रवाई होगी? जो भाषण हुआ है उस पर आप कार्रवाई चाहते हैं कि जिस तरीके से औरंगाबाद में भाषण हुआ है?
मुझे तो उम्मीद नहीं लगती, क्योंकि ये लोग इस कंपटीशन में लगे हैं कि हिंदुत्व की आइडियोलॉजी पर सबसे बड़ा कौन है। इसकी मिसाल आपको देता हूं, अभी सुन लीजिए। महाराष्ट्र की विधानसभा में उद्धव ठाकरे मुख्यमंत्री के तौर पर खड़े होकर कहते हैं कि हमने बाबरी मस्जिद को तोड़ा। कांग्रेस और राष्ट्रवादी खामोश, बेशर्मी से खामोश बैठी हुई थी। ये उनका सेकुलरिज्म है और आप सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं। दूसरा, कल फडणवीस साहब एक्स चीफ मिनिस्टर कहते हैं कि जब मस्जिद तोड़ी, बाबरी मस्जिद तोड़ी जा रही थी तो मैं वहां खड़ा हुआ था, शिवसैनिक नजर नहीं आए मेरे को। आप बताइए, यही तो हम कह रहे हैं ना, ये कंपटीशन चल रहा है। मुसलमानों के खिलाफ नफरत फैला कर दो, मुसलमानों को खतरा बनाकर पेश करो। हिजाब खतरा है, हलाल गोश्त खतरा है, अज़ा खतरा है, मुसलमानों का वजूद इस देश में खतरा है। तो यही तो हो रहा है। अगर संवैधानिक जिम्मेदारी शिवसेना, कांग्रेस, राष्ट्रवादी निभाती तो वो जो कंडीशन पर आपने कल सभा का परमिशन दिया, अब तक तो केस बुक हो जाना चाहिए था। क्या बैठकर देखेंगे तुम? क्या तुम बहरे हो, सुन नहीं रहे हो कि धमकी दी जा रही है, पूरे स्टेट की पीस को धमकी दी जा रही है? क्या बैठ के, आपको तो केस बुक करना चाहिए था। आपको तो केस बुक करना चाहिए था 153, 295 में। अरेस्ट तुम नहीं करोगे मुझे मालूम, क्योंकि तुम्हारा भाई है। तो अरेस्ट तुम इसलिए नहीं करोगे क्योंकि गाली देना, किसको गाली दे रहे हो? ओवैसी को और मस्जिद को गाली दी जा रही है। मगर केस तो बुक करो।
इसका मतलब ये
कि के लिए कुछ ड्रामा एक्टिंग कर दो कम से कम।
आने वाले समय में असद भाई को हम महाराष्ट्र में बहुत ज्यादा देखेंगे, क्योंकि अभी गुजरात के चुनाव भी होने वाले हैं। तो गुजरात में आपका ज्यादा ध्यान होगा कि महाराष्ट्र में ज्यादा ध्यान होगा? क्योंकि महाराष्ट्र में आप कह रहे हैं कि हिंदुत्व के नाम पर तो कंपटीशन शुरू हुई है, उसका काउंटर भी तो कहीं ना कहीं देना होगा। तो आपका समय महाराष्ट्र में ज्यादा बीतेगा कि गुजरात की तरफ आपका रुख रहेगा, क्योंकि दिसंबर में वहां पर चुनाव होंगे?
मैं यकीनन गुजरात जा रहा हूं, मई में भी जाऊंगा, जून में जाऊंगा और महाराष्ट्र भी आऊंगा। क्यों नहीं जाऊंगा? मैं एक पॉलिटिशियन हूं, मैं एक पार्टी का जिम्मेदार हूं, मैं कोई इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट नहीं हूं जो फुल टाइम इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट काम करता है और पार्ट टाइम पॉलिटिक्स। मेरा पूरी जिम्मेदारी मेरी पार्टी की है, मैं बराबर आऊंगा। कल हमारी मीटिंग हुई है औरंगाबाद में, नांदेड़ में, मुख्तलिफ जगह से हमारे लोग आए, प्रोग्राम बनेगा, हम आएंगे महाराष्ट्र को और हम सभाएं करेंगे।
बिल्कुल।
मगर महाराष्ट्र का पीस, देश का पीस इंपॉर्टेंट है। हम राजनीति जरूर करेंगे, मगर किसी इबादत गाह को ठेस पहुंचाना, किसी को धमकी देना, पूरे स्टेट को धमकी देना और चुड़िया पहन के बैठी है सरकार वहां पर।
शांति बनाए रखना बहुत जरूरी है असद भाई।
घर के सामने जाती तो सिडेशन लगाएंगे। आपके भाई का मामला आएगा तो आप
बिल्कुल। असद भाई, आपने हमसे बात की, इसके लिए आपका बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया। आप जो कह रहे हैं शांति बनाए रखना बहुत जरूरी है, कानून सुव्यवस्था की स्थिति बनाए रखना बहुत जरूरी है। लॉ एंड ऑर्डर अगर बनी रहेगी तभी किसी भी राज्य आगे बढ़ सकता है, ये बात तो सब लोग जानते हैं। और महाराष्ट्र ने बहुत बड़े दंगे देखे हुए। आज की
With that, it's time for a break. Here on the other side, Sena and BJP Hindutva war. Maharashtra Chief Minister says BJP cheated his father, Bala Saheb Thackeray, in name of Hindutva. We're getting you all the details in just 2 minutes.
You are watching India Today.
You know Kim Tae-hyung, aka V of pop group BTS fame? Well, he's simultaneously 26, 27 and 28 years old. Confused? How old were you when you were born? 0? 1? In South Korea, you'd be 1 year old. Let's clear the air about this. South Korea has a unique way of calculating age. When a baby is born, it's considered a year old. And as the year changes on January 1st, the child gains a year. So no special birthdays. South Koreans count age based on their birth year and not days. A child born in December will already be 2 by January. But the president-elect Yoon Suk-yeol wants to do away with this traditional system. Because of persistent confusion and unnecessary social and economic costs, the incoming administration is looking to standardize age calculation. This was observed especially when health authorities use the international age and Korean ages interchangeably to set guidelines for COVID-19. This will also help South Korea get in line with the rest of the world. The age conundrum doesn't end here. South Korea also counts age in an international way. That means it counts age in 3 ways. For legal and administrative purposes, the country's been using the international counting system since 1962. In another way, babies are born at 0 and gain a year on New Year's.